Hello friends, welcome to episode 100 of Freshly Grounded. And before we play the event, I wanted to give a huge thank you to our sponsor for the event, Muntada Aid. Muntada Aid are launching something really exciting for Ramadan. I'm sure you guys will remember last year I helped launch a campaign for them and 67 of you generously jumped onto that campaign and we raised over £100,000 for the Little Hearts campaign. This led to 71 Little Hearts being saved. Little Hearts provide life-saving surgery to children around the world who are born with heart defects, holes in their hearts, in places where they don't have access to the necessary kind of like doctors and hospitals for them to be able to fix it. And so they work in countries like Tanzania, Egypt, etc. to get that done. This year, Muntada Aid are asking you guys to help out once again to help with one of their 3 flagship causes, which are the Little Hearts Foundation, which provides these life-saving heart operations, the Broken Minds Project, which helps children of war and refugees with psychological trauma, which is something that I haven't seen many other charities doing, and lastly, Drop of Life, which establishes water wells in some of the most needed areas around the world. To jump on this campaign, click on the link in the bio of this video, or if you're watching this or listening to this on iTunes, the link will be in the show description. I also want to give a huge thank you to Flub Films, who helped us with the production of this event, as well as Flash Culture Photography. I want to also give a huge thank you to Yusuf and Abdul Samad, who were the 2 event managers for this huge production, this huge show. I want to give a huge thank you to everyone who attended, everyone who showed love, and for the amazing feedback that you guys gave. The video and the audio that you guys are kind of listening and watching really doesn't give justice to how amazing and fun the night was, and Sam and I are so grateful to everyone who supported it. But we hope this kind of gives you guys an inkling of the amount of fun that we had on the show. Naturally, there are some bits cut out to kind of take the show down from like a 4-hour thing down to something that's kind of consumable by you guys. And last but not least, before we do go into the show, I wanted to give a huge thank you to some companies who helped us out and supported us and gave gifts, etc. For the show. One of them being Raya's Coffee, as well as Mubarak London, who provided gifts to our speakers. Delicacy, who provided some items for our competition, as well as 360 Clothing, Hustler Clothing, and Zaha Grill. Shout out to all of those companies and to everyone who kind of showed love and supported, like I said. And without any further ado, guys, this is episode 100 of Freshly Grounded. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
MashaAllah, كيف بنت يعني؟ السلام عليكم. 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 السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters.
Trust me, podcasting can be huge. Like, our intention needs to be that, imagine even if one person stops listening to music because we created an alternative for them.
Yeah, man, I believe in that vision stuff. I trust it. Mate, I reckon realistically, I don't really get the whole thing, to be fair. I don't really understand what podcasts are. But, you know, I'd like to do something I think it'd be cool. Possibly once a month I can give you half a day consistently, but I've got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm not really sure.
Okay, so let's just do this. Let's do it, see however many episodes we can get, and if it means that we do it for 2 months and it just doesn't work out, we'll just leave it, walk away, but it's worth a try. And I think that's going to be
fine.
big.
That's fine.
Alright, sick.
Rise up, I'm gonna make a difference. Rise up, take back what's mine. Give power to the people. Some dreams never die. Can I get a witness? You know that it's
and welcome to Freshly Grounded, the brand new podcast by best friend.
Sam, listen, I know we're just backstage, behind the stage here, but I just feel like we need to change it up. This is our 100th episode. We need to have a better intro. We can't use the same intro that we always use.
I hear you, bro, but it's not a good time. We're literally about to go on stage.
Bro, I know what you mean, but this is our 100th episode. We should have a big intro, something crazy, you know?
Well, how do you want it?
I'm thinking you go now on stage, right? And then we wait a bit, and then everyone starts going, we want Faisal, stomp, 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 stomp. We want Faisal, stomp, 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 stomp. And then I come out, and then, because obviously everyone wants to see the big Faisal, you know? Everyone wants to see big Faisal. What's he going to be like in person? Is he really as big as they say? What do you reckon?
I think I'm just going to go on stage, mate.
Sam, no. Sam, listen, come back.
Assalamu alaikum. Faisal, come on, mate.
I'm not doing it.
Come on, mate.
No, I want to hear it.
Louder! Come on, mate.
My throat is awful. I felt the love. I really felt the love there. Guys, welcome to episode 100 of Freshly Grounded. Wow, we have really sold it out, Sam.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Guys, this is so humbling for us. SubhanAllah, we started Freshly Grounded. We didn't, as you guys just saw in the video, we had no idea really what it was going to be, what was going to come of it. And nowadays, in social media, people become kind of popular for senseless reasons, really. And the cool thing about Freshly Grounded is how natural and organic it was. We didn't become popular because we're two really good-looking men. We are, but that's not why we became popular. We didn't become popular because we had loads of money. I didn't have lots of money. And but we became popular because you guys listened. You guys decided to listen to us blabber on for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, let me take this opportunity to really say a sincere, massive thank you to every single one of you that is here this evening, and every single one of you that supported the podcast, whether you've listened to it, whether you reposted it, or whether you've said a good thing about it. So thank you so much for the support, because without you guys, we wouldn't be here this evening. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man. We have an absolutely packed out crowd. Alhamdulillah. We have some amazing guests. We're joined by Muslim Belal. We got Jibreel. We got Silverback AJ and Healthy Mindset. Whoa, all right. Guys, don't take no offense to that, right? They get that a lot. We've got Omar Chowdhury, who you've already seen. And we've got Josh Monica. We've also got some really cool performances and stuff lined up for you guys kind of throughout the show. And we have possibly the planet's coolest human beings, the Menspire Boys.
This evening is all about you guys. You listen to our podcast, you watch our podcast, but you can't get involved with our podcast. So this evening is about you guys getting involved with what we're talking about on stage. So I really urge you to come forward with questions. We've got microphones out there. So really try and get involved. That's the whole concept. That's the whole point why we're here. So really try and get involved as much as you can throughout this evening.
Yeah. We like Sam mentioned, we've got microphones everywhere, so they're dotted around. I think we've got 2 dotted around on the bottom floor. We've got 1 hovering around upstairs as well. So anytime you guys want to ask a question to our panelists, please do. Our first panelists who are about to come on are they specialize in business, right? So we're going to speak a bit about them before we bring them on. But before we bring on our panelists, there's a few announcements that I wanted to make. The first one is, guys, that Freshly Grounded, as you guys know, has been growing in such an organic way, right? And we get so much support from you guys, and we've had so much support from people all over the world. We've had support from huge sponsors that have really helped us out. But ultimately, we don't want to constantly have boring introductions where we're shouting out companies and all sorts of stuff in our episodes. We want it to be as organic as possible. And for that reason, we're really going to be pushing our Patreon today. Patreon is a service which you guys can see, which says, let's keep this thing going. It's a service which allows you to basically become a premium subscriber of Freshly Grounded. So So we didn't just want to ask you guys for donations. We're not asking for free money. We want to give you guys a service, but in giving you guys that service and you guys applying yourselves to that, you're able to support us at Freshly Grounded. So what is Patreon? Patreon, you guys would pay £5 a month. You become a premium subscriber, and you get each episode of Freshly Grounded 1 day early. You get the episodes absolutely ad-free. You get discounted tickets to our events. You get discounts to any of our merchandise. So we do urge you guys, even if it's just that you want to support us and show love, even just being a patron, one person being a patron makes a huge difference. So throughout the night, this banner is going to stay right here, patreon.com/Freshly Grounded. That's how you would go ahead and do that. And we have another announcement. You guys may be able to see that we have a nice little Badr Academy banner here on our page. Sam, what's some of the stuff? What are some of the things that some of the reasons we started Freshly Grounded? What are our core beliefs?
Core beliefs. Creating a alternative other than music for entertainment. Something a bit more clean, a bit more halal. Something to provide some sort of inspiration without listening to a motivational talk on YouTube. We feel within our podcasts, alhamdulillah, we have inspiring guests, and quite often we have inspiring conversations that come up about self-development, about spiritual development, or whatever it is. So really, Freshly Grounded is all about giving back and inspiring you guys.
And so in that, we want Freshly Grounded to be more than just a podcast, right? We're trying to make some sort of dent in this world, no matter how small or big it may be, but we want to make an impact on the world, right? We want Freshly Grounded to live on beyond us. Sam and I are both humans. We're both eventually going to die, be it today or be it in 60 years' time, but Freshly Grounded can live on, right? So we want to grow Freshly Grounded. It's not just a podcast, it's what we believe in. And for that reason, guys, we've always wanted to provide something where we can start giving back with Freshly Grounded. And alhamdulillah, today we are happy to announce that Badr Academy is a school in West London that allows people to learn to read the Quran, to memorize the Quran, to learn and speak the Arabic language. And we are happy to announce that we're going to be opening a scholarship program for Badr Academy. So we'll be paying for the core years of someone who gets in with our scholarship, basically, so they can learn to read, to memorize, and to speak the Arabic language. So that's enough about Freshly Grounded. I'm sure you guys want to hear about our guest. So Sam, who is Josh LaMonica?
Josh LaMonica. Josh LaMonica is a very dear friend of mine. He's a brother of mine. He's also my business partner. Someone who I've owned my business with for about 6 years now. He's a hairdresser. I say it. Maybe I would say this, but I think he's probably one of the best men's hairdressers in the world. Alhamdulillah, he's also my business partner, my mentor, and yeah, he's the guy who helps me run Menspire. He generally spends his life abroad teaching education from places from Korea to America to Australia, to where he's just come back from Portugal. So yeah, he's a very inspiring gentleman. He's also a revert. And yeah, that's Josh LaMonica. And
Sam's been very humble about it. Menspire is an international brand, and these guys are doing amazing. So you guys can really get some great insight from Josh as to how both him and Sam were able to build a brand from being just one store that they set up in St Albans outside of London to being a brand where they have so many stores across the UK. They've got stores in Ireland, and also they're opening up new stores it seems like every week. So we're going to have Josh on stage alongside Omar. Omar, as you guys probably know, is my older brother. He's also my mentor. I spend every single day with the guy, and I still don't get enough. He's so inspirational. He really is as kind of natural and genuine. As I say, it's amazing to be able to share so much time with him and share an office with him, and he's been able to build up so much from I think only the age of 14 or 15 he was invited for the first time to meet the Prime Minister, and since then he's been invited about 3 times. So we have Omar to blame for Brexit, and without any further ado, brothers and sisters, guys and girls, let's bring on Omar Chowdhury and Josh LaMonica.
Looks familiar. There you go.
Guys, welcome to Freshly Grounded episode 100.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, man.
You've both been on episodes of Freshly Grounded before, so you know how we roll. But I wanted to kind of break the ice a little before we got started with Freshly Grounded. So, with this segment. Oh, I'm all tangled up here. So, to get started, before we open up the floor for some questions, these chairs are a bit too comfortable, aren't
Really
they?
comfy, man.
Yeah, I almost
Really
don't want to do
nice.
the show anymore. Before we open up the floor,
active.
before we open up the floor for questions, before we break the ice a little, so we're going to bring on, we're going to bring back on Abdul Hakim, so he can go through with us with how we're going to break the ice.
Assalamu alaikum. Give them out. Okay, so we have. Shall we start the game show now? Or?
Begin.
Okay. So, in this game, we're gonna ask both Omar and Faisal and Sam and Josh sets of questions, and it's like a who knows who better kind of thing.
Okay.
And yeah, when you're ready, we'll start.
Okay, so who's going to go first? So basically, the game is Faisal and Omar, brothers, versus Josh and Sam, not brothers, so we know who's going to win. And it's who knows who better. So let's see who knows who better. Do we know the rules of the game, or is it just?
It's not really necessarily about knowing the answer, even if you try. And yeah, and
Cool.
that's generally the rules. Well, that's what you wrote in here.
That's what I wrote in there. I think I'm
I'm trying not to read off.
We're breaking it already. All right, guys. The idea of the game is we're gonna. The idea of the game is that we have to try and guess what our brother or non-brother is gonna answer, and then the people every time we match, we get a point. So let's see who knows who better, me and Omar or Josh and Sam. And to be fair, because I'm so confident, we'll go first. So Omar, stand up.
Stand up. Alright, cool, let's do this. I'm going to look at my mum for a point as if I don't know something.
You can't look at your mum because you're going to be blindfolded.
Oh,
with a freshly grounded blindfold.
actually, oh, wow, I didn't see these. This guy got freshly grounded, branded, everything.
I was gonna bend over and pick up the cards, but I don't think that's a good idea in these jeans. So, yeah, it would not be a good sight. Okay, so Omar.
Put on now.
Sorry,
Shall I put on?
not just yet. So you got Faisal here and Omar. So just know which hand you've got who in.
Okay. Faisal.
Yeah, Omar. Okay, good. So far, so good.
Should've
I've got
written
mine
on the
ready, and we both are wearing glasses, so we probably have to take the glass off. In fact, if we take a glass off, we might just not need the blindfolds. Let's put one in
very
for
true,
effect
I
because I
am.
paid
What's going
£6 for these
I'm
blindfolds.
so blind. I might just fall off the stage.
Are you ready? You know who's in whose hands, yeah?
Faisal.
Abdul
Omar,
Hakim's
right?
going to ask us a question. Right, I've got Faisal here, Omar here.
I
Right.
can't see
Faisal
anything.
on the right. You ready? Hakim, you have the questions? Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Bro, I'm genuinely
You
blind.
have to put the
so-
blindfold on, Omar.
I now mixed up the cards as well, so I don't know what's going on.
Wow.
Right, hold on.
Does it say freshly grounded the right way?
Alright, this is Faisal, right? Omar, I'm cool, yeah?
Wait.
Okay.
Right, don't fall off the
The
stage. bro.
speaker's there or something, and Adma would be a nice cushion for me to fall on.
Okay.
All
You
right.
ready, Omar?
Yeah.
Shall we start? Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. First question: who is the better driver? Wrong.
Huh?
Wrong.
Oh,
What,
subhanallah.
do we look up after we do it?
So you are basically like, looking
Keep
out for each other,
blindfolded.
yeah?
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
All right. The second question: who is smarter? Okay. 1 point.
Huh? 1 point.
1 point. Yeah. The third question: who is better at sports?
Oh, man.
Yep, correct. 2 points. If you're on a stranded island and are looking for a way to find help and get out of there, who is more likely to give up first and accept the fact that he's going to stay there for the rest of his life?
That's not fair.
That's hilarious.
Okay, 3
Was that
points.
point? Was that point?
Yeah, of course.
How
Of
dare
course.
Come on, man. Bro.
Okay, next question. I'm sure we're going to answer this one, right?
You start podcasting.
Who is a more romantic husband?
Oh, man. No, I'm in it.
Okay. I'm so sorry if my wife's here.
Wrong.
I did this question
Oh,
there.
that's nice of you. Omar always does romantic stuff.
Okay, next one. Who would your younger siblings say, or who would your younger siblings say is the better older brother? Wrong. Wrong.
Ah,
Was that? Oh,
Yeah.
she said both.
Okay, last one, yeah?
Yeah, let's do this. So how many points? We got 3 points.
Yeah,
so
3
far.
points, yeah. So who would be more likely to cheat on a test?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so 4 points.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Guys,
4
you know
points.
Omar, yeah? Listen to this with regards to cheating on tests, yeah? Omar always tries to find hacks for everything. So the first ever business Omar had, yeah, was, you know when you get the bus to school, like when you were in high school and you're at year 7, he used to obviously, when you get to bus school, how do you get to bus school? You jump on, you put your bus pass on, and you get on the bus. Yeah. Omar used to create a thing called a school bus pass. He printed them himself at a printer at home. He'd cut them out and he'd sell them to the people on the bus to almost be like, you have to get a school bus pass, otherwise you can't get to school. And they would buy it. All right, it's time for sound.
That's good.
4 points.
Yeah, 4 points, yeah.
Go on, big man. Let's see if you can beat 4 points.
Okay, so
How
next up,
confident are
Josh
you?
and Sam, yeah?
Josh?
Thanks.
That was funny.
So which one's which?
You're definitely
Josh
more
and Sam?
romantic though.
Yep.
Okay, you guys got 4 points to beat.
I'm sure they can beat that, man. Ready?
Sam probably hates that I've like brought him into Freshly Guarded because I do everything outside of his comfort zone.
Okay, you ready, guys, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, then cool. The first question. Who is the better hairdresser or barber?
I like that.
Okay, 1 point. So we're already on a good start then, yeah?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, second question, yeah? Who prefers being on stage? Correct. So we've got 2 so far, yeah? Next one. If you were cutting a client's hair and messed up the back, who is more likely to stay quiet about it and let the client think everything is fine? Okay, so 3 points. Next question.
They might beat us.
Of course, on this one.
What did we get? 4?
Yeah. Who would the Menspire boys say is the nicer boss?
Ooh.
Yeah. So 4.
Is that correct, guys?
Alright, they have to stay quiet, right? Okay, the next one.
They want job tomorrow.
Who has the shorter temper? Yeah. 5 so far, yeah? So the next one. If you were both to cut your own hair, who would cut it better? 6. So the last one, yeah? Imagine you're at a barbering or hairdressing convention. Who is the most likely to be asked for selfies by the crowd? Boy, that's
Team's what?
Every single one.
Done, yeah?
Well done, man.
You guys smashed it. Take your seats, guys.
I'm done.
Abdul Hakim,
Thank you very
Jazakallah khair,
much,
guys.
yeah.
Abdul
Assalamu
Hakim.
alaikum. Take care, guys, yeah? Excuse me, inshallah, yeah? Say something.
That's I'm so embarrassed.
All right, guys. So we got some
did we
microphones in
nail
the
it?
crowd. Sorry.
6 out of
You nailed
6.
it. Yeah, 6 out of 6.
Yeah,
We've got some microphones in the crowd, guys. Can the guys who have the microphones just maybe wave their hand? Okay, the guys with the microphones are coming down. So get your questions ready. And in the meantime, oh no, we're ready, are we? Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So guys, this next half an hour is based on you guys interacting with us. Otherwise, it's going to be a very quiet half an hour. So let's get a raise of hands. Great. We've got some questions down here.
What made you guys realize that it's time to scale in terms of
Time to
business?
stay up.
that's what I thought you said.
Time to scale the business.
Oh,
So
scale up.
Yeah, yeah.
Stay up. You boys are best for that.
Us?
Yeah, go ahead.
First and foremost, I thank God for having us here together. It's an absolute honor to be here with so many people, not doing what I usually do, to be in and amongst the crowd that just want to be inspired. So again, a huge congratulations to you guys and to all of you guys that have put on the Freshly Grounded event. Just before I want to say anything, I want to express my gratitude to being here. What do we do to scale? Decided to scale our business? You know, it was something that naturally we were really, really interested in, really, really passionate about. We had a vision that we wanted to really, really explore our industry and take it to new heights. We wanted to create a revolution. What do I mean by a revolution? I mean by taking the industry and bringing it to new heights through appointment systems, through a service that is, you know, like a 5-star experience. In barbering within our industry, we haven't had that before, and there was nothing quite the like. So myself and Sam, after both having experience in a hairdressing salon, we wanted to merge the two together and, you know, bridge the gap between hairdressing and barbering, which would allow us to create this niche which was missing within the market. And that's really what allowed us to, express how we feel about the industry with both the service and the quality of haircuts, to be able to, eventually accelerate to be where we are today. So that's how it all kind of began, and that's how it kind of accelerated, if you like.
We're basically all one big Menspire advert here, aren't we? Because
we all go Menspire.
Yeah.
Did you guys go Menspire?
Yeah.
Have you guys got another question? Go ahead. Guys, we're going to need way more hands, otherwise this event is going to be cut down so short. We need confidence. I saw in the pre-show that you guys were very confident, very loud.
Got energy in here.
And also, the questions don't just have to be about business. If it's about, for example, flat Earth. Not flat Earth. Sam won't stop. Go ahead.
So, my questions is on it's a slightly level up. It's about masculinity, and so we see a celebration of like Muslim women, and it's seen as something very natural and something healthy. And I don't see the same happening in terms of masculinity in general and Muslim masculinity specifically. And so I just want your thoughts, especially from the brothers who are converts as well, because they all have a kind of fresh perspective on this rather than those of us from immigrant families. And so I just want what your feelings are about whether you feel there is a crisis in Muslim masculinity, and what is healthy masculinity, especially in light of a lot of conflicting ideas of what that might be or might not be.
Oh, well, maybe you can start with that because you just did that talk at Virgin, didn't you, about masculinity?
Yeah, we were just speaking about something similar. The masculinity the question was actually more about the role of the father, so our father, literally our dads, and how that might have impacted us. So like all of us, if our parents are from an immigrant background, it's a culture shift for them. So like a lot of times the fathers might be either stricter, quieter, might not show affection as much, but that doesn't take away from how much they love you. And what their intentions are behind raising you. But we, as growing up as young men, don't get exposed to how to, let's say, always, maybe how to interact with females, for instance, for when we get married, or the best advice for, let's say, having kids, or all those type of things. So that's kind of a common theme that happens. And what we were speaking about at the talk was that it's more of you either have a mindset of hurt people, and you carry on doing that going forward, and you kind of be like, well, I didn't get taught this, I don't know like how to be a man, and then you just, the buck stops there. Or you take responsibility, and then you have, conversations like this, brotherhoods, you interact with different communities and different ethnicities, and then you try and educate yourself and learn, and that allows you to then set some sort of blueprint. So I like to think of these things more of, rather than looking at them as a problem, more of a responsibility thing, that understanding that, there might be something there that we need to solve, but I have a responsibility as an older brother to, my siblings, but then out to my kids, that I've got to lead by example. So I think that's kind of my thought on it.
Sam, you're quite a masculine man. Don't ask me.
I was going to ask you, what's your thoughts?
Still learning.
You're still learning to be a man?
I'm growing from a boy to man.
Yeah, I've watched it.
You have?
I have watched it.
Okay, fine. My thoughts on masculinity. I don't have much to say about it other than I agree with the brother who asked the question, which, by the way, I remember you very, very well. I think that in an amazing way, we're really pushing forward women empowerment, right, in society, which is great, and I don't think that should stop. However, I don't think that the kind of victim of that should be that we then put down men as well. I think there's space for everyone, right? So the only thing I would say is that if someone is being masculine, and that's natural for him to be masculine, then they shouldn't be shunned because of that.
But are you saying should you have to make the effort to be more masculine than you naturally are? Is it, no, not you personally. Is it?
Are you saying that he's being more masculine than I am?
That's obvious. Is there a pressure for men to be more masculine than they naturally are?
I can only speak about my own experiences and say that not necessarily for myself. I think there's general things in our fitrah that make us want to, or our natural disposition, that make us as men want to be a certain way. I think one of those things is protective.
This is natural. This is
I
obviously
believe
your
that's
fitra.
natural. I believe that's your fitra.
So let's say that you don't feel like you're the most, naturally masculine man. Is there a pressure then to try and add some masculinity on top of your character, or should you just be yourself?
You should be yourself, because look, even if we look at even if we look at the Sahaba, which one thing that's amazing about them is that they all had different characteristics, but they were all great. You know what I mean? There were some of the 10 that were promised Jannah, like Uthman ibn Affan was very soft-hearted, and then you look at someone like Umar ibn Khattab, who was strong and like a bit opposite, but they were both great men.
Yeah.
So I think be yourself.
Be yourself, yeah.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, to be honest, I think you've pretty much rounded it up. You know, if you're trying to be someone that you're not, then there's a scenario, isn't there? There's a perception of you not being you. You know, it's a difficult one. You can't really tell someone to be more masculine if they're not that way inclined. What can you say?
Agreed. Have we got some more questions? Yes, brother. We're just going to get the mic over to you because the mics are being recorded, so I can hear you great, but the thousands on iTunes can't.
So do you want to go first? Are you sure?
you go first.
So what would you define as masculinity?
That's a very good question. We actually spoke about this the other day. We spoke about everything. We spoke about this the other day as well. The where we were actually, I was at a talk hosted by Virgin, and it was by a group of African American men who have put together a collective to help them kind of have a bit more conversation. So this topic for them was huge, and mainly from an emotional perspective, because due to insecurities and them addressing like their emotions and not recognizing some of their emotions as being manly, they end up through their insecurities, like committing crime or having broken homes, not raising their kids properly, and then I think what kind of came from that conversation was again the responsibility thing of understanding that they call each other kings, like these boys who call each other kings, and they call each other kings because they said, look, we have to first treat each other and greet each other with that level of respect that we understand that we have a certain, they call it queens, and we have a certain level to play by. We have a responsibility. We have to stand with our shoulders back and our heads held high, and that includes being able to show your emotions, be able to speak about it. So I think masculinity now, I actually think we're getting more into a stage where you can. It's not bad to show your emotions. Like people are a lot more okay to say they have depression, anxiety. I've been more comfortable saying that as well because it's no longer a thing that it's like, oh man, you're just X, Y, and Z. And I think also now us all being able to accept each other, not just label each other, for just not showing a certain trait or whatever, makes everything a lot easier because people then feel more comfortable. And I think that starts within your kind of intimate relationships with your brothers, your best friends, your kids. Just starting from there and leading by example.
Cool. Do you have another question? Got a question at the front. Oh, of course. Yeah, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I just want to ask a question. Like, what was the downside of running a business or starting a business?
Who's that for?
Like, just anyone.
Josh?
Downside to running a business or starting a business. In my opinion, that there wasn't necessarily a downside. It could have only been uphill. I guess it depends on the way you look at it. If you're positive in the belief, if you have a system of belief around you that you're going to do well, and that is the only route, that is the only plan A, there is no plan B, then there is no other outlook. It can only, from when you're going up, it can only go downhill. So when you're starting out, I don't think there is, and there shouldn't be, any kind of other outlook other than it's only going to work, and there is only plan A, and that's it.
I'd add to that, along with that, the responsibilities that fall on your shoulders and continue to fall on your shoulders as the years go on your business. That's something that, not a negative, but you kind of change. Just when responsibility in general, you can feel it. And when you add more and more responsibility to your life, you can feel it. So those kind of late evenings when everyone else is kind of relaxing, having a cup of tea, watching whatever, you're there sitting, working things out. You're feeling that pressure. You're feeling that responsibility of your business, because ultimately, if you don't make your business work, no one else will, and it will fail. But ultimately, what Josh is saying is correct. That positive mindset, everything's we're going to be successful, and whatever, you know, even if there's failure on the way, it's still a success. Absolutely. But I would say, you know, that responsibility, you do feel it sometimes. You do feel it.
I think an analogy that kind of I try to think of is the concept of like driving in the dark without your headlights on. You know, it's just not something that you naturally do, but almost starting a business or running a business is like that. Because you know the path you're on, the direction you're on, but you can't see ahead of you. And the thing that allows you to see, you know, kind of your headlights is your vision, your passion, your belief. You know, you're taking responsibility. These kind of elements all coming together to help drive you forward. So naturally, having anxiety, you know, feeling stressed out, not knowing, having uncertainties is normal. And I don't think it would be, you know, easy for anyone to say that, yeah, we just know exactly where we're going there. Otherwise, everyone in the world would have done exactly that thing. Menspire is successful, mashallah, because what's in their brain, none of us here know even today. We see the manifestation of what it's become. They're thinking, we don't know how many years in advance, you know? And there's plenty of barbers out there, plenty of people creating those businesses, but it's those headlights that they have that allow them to keep going forward.
Cool. Go ahead, sister, at the back.
Assalamu alaikum. How do you deal with like family members when you want to come up with the idea of like you want to start a business? How do you tell them, like your families and your friends, and if they're going to support you, and if they're like have negative thoughts about it?
Well, I think this would be a really cool question for both of you guys to answer, because you come from such different cultural backgrounds that perhaps you guys could give us insight into both. So who wants to start?
I think it's quite a common question and a great question, sister, but that a lot of people ask at these type of events. Because it's so common, especially culturally, you know, like having the traditional mindset of, you know, parents wanting you to go into education and pursue a certain life. And I love the idea, I think Jay-Z spoke about this once as well. Hanan, you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about people projecting their fears onto you. He says, you know, my uncle told me I'd never sell 1 million records, I sold 1 million records like 1 million times. You know, so
is that correct, Hanan?
That's correct, yeah, we spoke about it. But it's the people, fears, especially sometimes those closest to you, they'll project them onto you because they might not have been able to do it. But that's not a representation just because you love and respect them of your capabilities. And we can get misguided with that because we want to make them happy, of course. But in the same way, if they wanted you to be happy, they'd look at what you're trying to do. And I think it's their responsibility to, of course, guide you, give you the right information and tools to not make the wrong decisions. But I do think there should be a sense of responsibility that you're allowed. And one good practical way of doing this that I've spoken to people about that kind of has worked is taking kind of micro steps. So it's quite bold to go to your parents and say, hey, I'm in second year uni, and just dropping out to go, you know, be a designer, for instance. That won't go down too well. Whereas if you're doing incremental steps where now the power of the internet and social media, you can actually show results. So maybe you do some work for someone, like a client, let's say in that respect, and you show them, hey mom, hey dad, I did this. Oh, I earned a bit of money doing this. If I do this 5 times, I can make more money than having a job in this field. Like, try and show them and communicate to them effectively, and then hopefully you start getting leeway, and they'll be like, okay, well, try this for the summer, or try this for a year. And then, you know, then you got to put in your effort to pull through.
Interesting, you know. I didn't have any problem with my parents starting a business. But I do know the scenario. It's a classic scenario. You tell someone you've got the job, everyone's congratulating you. You tell someone you're starting a business, everyone's like, right, okay, you know, and that's what we face in society, you know. There is a good scenario that we have with Mahi, which is really interesting. You know, our manager at Menspire was due to go to university by accordance to his family. However, he started with us when he was 14, just bringing in his brothers and, you know, his friends, getting their hair cut, and eventually we saw that he was a well-mannered young professional. So we invited him to come and work with us, you know, on his Saturdays, and then eventually when he had to make a decision in his life to either go to university or to stay on and be full-time manager of Menspire, then he had complications with his family, you know, and this was a very, very difficult time for him and his family. But the hard part is his family don't see the vision that myself and Sam have. They don't see the belief that we have within Mahi as a young professional, and how far he could go and develop with us as a brand. You know, and if someone can't see your vision, then they will rightfully oppose you, you know, and that's the difficulty that we have when it comes to parents not supporting or not necessarily understanding, what it is that the child may want to do or why they want to do it. Fortunately, alhamdulillah, their parents accepted Mahi to come and work with us, and since then we've grown into 4 more salons, and it's been incredible, and that's all through his help as well. So, sometimes if the vision is not clear throughout the parents because they don't believe or they can't see it, then there's the difficulty.
I have to say this while I answer questions, since our mum is here as well. But our mum has always, no matter what, been so incredibly supportive of anything us kids have done. It's important to give you that credit, mum. You never question it. We're doing things in our house. You don't, just let us get on with it. Even this week, you guys might have noticed from my Instagram, with me cooking and stuff, and I kind of enjoy that. So I'm putting together a little project for you guys, and I literally called my mum the other day and I said, "Hey mum, what are you doing bank holiday?" She said, "I'm free. I'll just get all my stuff done the weekend, so I'll come and help you." She's freed up her Monday to just come down, and just things like that just mean the world to us. So I think it's important to give you that credit, mum. Thank you.
I've got a cool story about. With mum, she's actually plays quite an incremental part in how Freshly Grounded began, because I wanted to do Freshly Grounded, or the prequel to the next phase, when about podcasting, just before I was getting married. So those of you who are Asian know that when you're about to get married, you need as much money as possible, and so I remember, I was sitting downstairs at my mum's house, and I remember adding all of the items to the cart, which are to this day the same microphones that we use for Freshly Grounded, and it came up to about £750, which is a good amount of money. And I thought to myself, if I don't do it, I will never know. So I took it from my wedding fund, and I spent that £750 on podcast equipment. And I went upstairs and I said to my mum, I said, I just spent £750 on podcasting equipment. She had no idea what podcasting was. And I said, I've either made the best decision or the worst decision of my life. But she was so supportive, and she wouldn't tell me off about it. And I think that her being so encouraging is what led me to thinking that it's okay to spend that money on something that I really believe in. But yeah, so I think parenting it does play a huge factor.
I'll just add to that you're always going to have a lot of people who doubt you, and who question your ideas and question what you want to do. And I can, loads of experiences where I've presented an idea to someone that what I want to do with my career, or what I'm going to do, or shop, or this, that, and people will almost argue with you and say you're wrong, you won't be able to do that, and it kind of adds to that fuel, that kind of cliche quote of haters motivate, but they really, really do, because when people doubt you, if you have a vision, you can achieve something, realistically you can achieve it. So I think it's just kind of, don't listen to everyone, don't let everyone's opinion, even the closest people to you, even if it is your family, don't necessarily let everyone's opinion about what you want to do and what you would like to do and where you see yourself, don't let that affect what you're doing, because not everyone's going to kind of see your vision and understand what you're doing. So
Sam loves his cliches. I find it so funny. On your Instagram, you love posting your cliches. Haters motivate.
When did I write that?
If you believe it, you can see it. If you see it, you can believe it.
It's true though, man.
Reach for the stars.
I've never written that in my life.
Every now and again on your
trust
story.
The process. All I say is trust
the process. That's a big one, Sam. Trust the process.
True, though,
and Sam's not even that active on social media, so every now and again he'll just post something. He's like, trust the process, and it leaves. What does that mean, Sam?
It's the process, isn't it?
We just put our trust in it. Yeah. Guys, have you got any more questions? We've still got time for questions. Oh wow. Yep. Whoever anyone thinks is best. Good. There's a lot of pressure on this man with a mic.
Yeah, this is for Sam or Josh. Sorry. What would you say in terms, if you have a business, and would you advise to get investors, or would you say ride it out and get your own money?
Yeah, nice. We had this scenario. When we started out, we wanted to have this really big, empowering, salon with, so many things going on. So we didn't know anything about business. We knew how to cut hair and that was it. We thought that we needed a loan, so we organised a bank meeting, and this is a pretty phenomenal story, really. We asked for £50,000. That's what we didn't really know how much it would take to build a salon, open a business. We thought 50 would be right, and we haven't got that, so we better go and ask for it. So we had this bank meeting. This was about 7 years ago, with a guy called Nick. Barclays, yeah? And
hope this story's good now, because he'll be on
myself and Sam were both working at home. We used to take appointments at home. We used to have full days, and we'd know what money we'd make by the end of the day. You know, even at the start of the day, we'd know what money we'd make because we have a list of people who's appointed, and that's it. Went to the bank meeting, you know, and bank meeting asked him, what are you going to do? He said, we want to open a barber shop. And he sort of giggled and said, you know, we've actually lent money to 3 barbershops already in the town, yeah. I was like, oh, right, nice. So I said to him, well, where'd you get your haircut then? He goes, well, I just go to the Eurostyle up the road. I said, did you book an appointment? He goes, no, I just sort of nip in there on my lunch. I said to him, all right, nice. What happens if they're busy, you know? He goes, well, I'll go to the other one that we lent the money to, and I'll head down there. I said, well, what if they're busy? And then, and it's the end of your lunch. He goes, well, I have to come back and miss my lunch and then go try again the next day. I said, oh, right. So you're prepared to sort of take an hour out of work, try to nip to one, nip to the other. If it doesn't work, you get no haircut. And I was silently confident. And I said, you know, let me ask you a question, Nick. I said, can you ring up the barbers that you lent money to, and can you ask him how much money he's going to make tomorrow? You know, what's the business going to pull in tomorrow? He said, well, no. I said, well, why is that? He goes, well, obviously they sort of just rely on walk-in business. And I was like, right, okay. So I said to him, well, look at this. I took my phone out. I had a list of 19 people's names. I said, this is my Saturday tomorrow, yeah? That must have been £400 or £500 at the bottom of the list. I said, this is my Saturday. And I said, this is my Sunday. This is my Monday. And this is how I run my business, yeah? And I said to Sam, do you do the same? He goes, yeah, this is how we run a business. He said, we want to run by appointments. And eventually I just said, well, I don't think we really kind of need this meeting anymore. So we eventually just walked out, discovered that, you know, if we put 10,000 each together, we were able to sort of build our own salon. So we done that and never saw Nick again. That was it.
What an amazing story.
Because you guys are, using a marketing term, you guys are influencers, I guess, in the scene. Now, as influencers, I just want to ask is that some people, I'm not saying you guys, but some people develop an ego. And I just want to know, because it does come with anyone who's trying to grow.
Yeah, I that's actually a wicked question, man. And you wouldn't be normal if you didn't experience kind of parts of that. First of all, I think having people around me on a day-to-day basis who've got everything in check, from like especially Faisal, like people like Nate, we have this kind of cocooned in a space that doesn't allow you to not only boost your own ego, but also there's no need for it, you know, because they value you on a whole different level. So I think the first thing is checking, you know, your value structures and, you know, what is of value to you. Is your family. Like I realize that my wife doesn't get gassed about anything that I do or anything like how, you know, but she'll appreciate, congratulate me, you know, but it's not like, oh my gosh, you're the greatest person in the world. I mean, that's very important because it allows you to always be on a level where you understand what's happening now, but also because of our deen understanding, this could all be gone tomorrow, you know. So in the grand scheme of things, it's really nothing. And yeah, now, and when I used to do, you know, I used to do my YouTube a lot, like the Ozone, like the filming stuff, I stopped a lot of that because I felt like my intentions with it weren't the purest. I felt like I wasn't doing it, you know, for the right reasons. I was maybe trying to promote my business. So not that that's the wrong reasons, but it was too much me. And that, you know, it's not worth any amount of subscribers, followers, money to do that. And that's why when you have things like Freshly Grounded, you know, these type of conversations where they're in a very, you know, clean environment and you can still bring in sponsors and you can still make money, you know, but you don't have to be lavish about it in that sense. So for me, I think I have to constantly check myself and, you know, literally I work with my brother day to day. I have my family, my kids keep me grounded. I think those type of things allow me to not worry about it. But I think it's natural to when things do happen, slightly, you know, trip yourself over, but you have to check yourself. Josh?
Yeah, interesting. Obviously, I come across this quite a lot with a lot of people really respecting your work, loving what I do as a profession. For me, I'm just really, really conscious about it. You know, I know that in many positions, someone that was doing what I do, they can definitely feel it, and you could grow and increase in ego. But for me, I'm always conscious of this particular feeling, and I don't let it get to me, and I'm sure Sam and the guys there at Menspire can help reference for myself. It's very difficult, when someone praises you and tells you that they're astaghfirullah, your idol and this, that and the other. You've kind of just got to just acknowledge and just say yeah, and thanks, and
Thanks,
that's it.
Nick. Barclays.
It's here, Nick. Cheers, Nick.
Too late now.
Too late, Nick. Just being conscious of it, I would say. Just being conscious of the fact that you're here today, you could be gone tomorrow, and when you put your head on that floor and you're praying to Allah, that is your level, and that's it.
Go ahead.
What would be your best advice to grow your social media organically and ethically?
Take that. Josh should take that, really.
Intention. Straight up, what is your intention? What are you putting out there? When it comes to Instagram, are you trying to impress or are you trying to express? For me, I just express what I love doing, and that's the main intention, to understand why you're doing it. So many reasons. Instagram is a way to show off if you're doing it unknowingly or unconsciously. In my opinion, to be able to express what you do and the reasons why you love it and how you can help people, that's really what can fulfill you at the end of the day. I say to Sam every couple of times, I'm just so excited to wake up. I'm too inspired to sleep sometimes, and he turns around to me and goes, that's a bit crazy, isn't it? And that's how it is for me. This profession that I do, I love it because I know how much it can contribute to society. It can contribute to my industry, which then will leave me fulfilled. And it comes to the intention. How can you grow it? Well, do what you love and express it, and show that passion, and the people will see it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really come from the people; it comes from Allah. So He will put you on that platform if it's supposed to be for you, and if your intentions are completely pure.
Wow, amazing. No, it's true. Go ahead. I don't know where the mics are, sorry. I would have loved to have heard your question.
Right, I think what's
just have fun.
Assalamu alaikum. This question is mainly for Josh and Sam. I just wanted to ask, as reverts, when you first found Islam, how did you not stay just as stagnant reverts, staying not fully practicing? That was just the question.
Sam?
Refine that, sorry, just refine that question. What was that last bit?
How did you not stay a stagnant reverts?
How did I not stay? I don't know, it's best my condition. I think seeking knowledge is maybe the answer to that. Seeking knowledge and trying to be as active as you can. Without knowledge, you know nothing. With no knowledge, there's no action. So I don't know, it's best my condition, but I mean, never miss salah. Do as much good, whatever good opportunity comes forth, try and take it. There's so much negative that comes to us in life. So when something positive something positive comes forward, Allah gives you something positive to do. Your opportunity to give back. Just try and take it, and just try and look after Iman and just understand how fragile it is, and how delicate our hearts are, and just be really conscious of it, and just try and grow in dunya, but grow spiritually, and really just try and prepare yourself for what's to come, and just be very conscious that really your soul can be taken from you any time, and you want to try and be as prepared as you can be, and just to be conscious of that exact thing. It's deep. It's very, very deep.
Yeah, I agree. I think if there's one thing that when I first came across Islam, that really hit home, and to this day that I will never forget, is in Surah Ibrahim, chapter 14, verse 7, is, if you are grateful, I will increase you. And ever since becoming Muslim, when we first started a business 4.5 years ago, you know, we have just developed, and, you know, it's only a case of us being tremendously grateful. And again, like Sam said, not missing a salah is part of that, you know. Stay grateful.
Cool, guys. We've got about 5-7 minutes left worth of questions. 50 minutes, the short ones go quick. So let's get some quick fire questions in for sure.
As you were talking about business, and some people had questions about ethics, as pioneers of your own kind of startups, what do you think is an ethical way to view competition or competitors in your marketplace, and how does that impact you when you're kind of making decisions or, you know, looking at how you keep a hold of a particular market base?
That's a good question.
That's for you, Omar. That's a good question for you.
You know what? We speak about this at the office because you do see it happen. Like you see things. We recently launched like feed source, for instance, and then, you know, we just see a couple of little ideas like that are popping around, and happen to people that somehow connected to us. You know, all these little things. So it makes you more conscious about the way you move and things like that. So naturally, of course, yeah, there's going to be elements of like frustration and you get annoyed, but that's the nature of the world. You know, you can't stop people from doing that. But I think also having the belief in yourself and the vision for what you're doing is kind of exceeding anything that a competitor might do, right? So we speak about it as in like trying to live in the future. So we want to operate as if we're living in a world that doesn't currently exist. Because in my mind, that makes me feel as if I only exist there with my team, you know, rather than it feeling like, and it's just more of a psychological thing, because I'm like, okay, well, it allows a lot more what ifs to happen. Like, what if, like, for example, we're trying to do like product photography within like the same day, you know, and that's virtually impossible right now at scale. So how we do that is like trying to create that what if. Okay, well, then what do we need from resources, people, technology, and then work backwards, and then kind of have a hope that that's kind of trapping the competitors. But I haven't seen too much of like, I think generally like the nice thing is that anything that we've seen that's happened similar to what we've done, we've also taken inspiration from other people and what they've done, you know. So I think understand that we are all in one kind of vacuum together where we lend each other ideas and we take from them, and you can't really get too disheartened by it, because what's yours, again, like Abdelkarim and Josh as well, is Allah's written that for you already, you know. So if that competitor was supposed to come and just wipe you off when you do something else, it's the way it's supposed to be. So it's, you know, having that sort of mindset as well, I suppose.
Go ahead, sister.
Well, I was going to add to that.
Oh, sorry.
Because it's quite a big one for us as barbers. I mean, and Sam might say different, I'm not sure, but when it comes to competition, in my view, there are people that do the same thing as us. That's not competition, you know. I believe in cooperation over competition. You know, contribution to what we do is going to help us evolve as an industry as a whole, you know. And it's about being, you know, more than just so successful. You know, every barbershop per se is successful because they have people come through the door, you know, or let's say in education, you know. We're not necessarily, myself and Sam, we're not necessarily pushing to be successful. Successful is there, you know. We're pushing to become significant. You know, that's the difference. Is about, you know, us enabling people to reach their goals, you know, and reach their levels, their heights. You know, that is the competition that we have amongst our own team, you know, and that's the only competition that we see. That's it.
I don't want to say anything.
Shall I go?
Go ahead. There's a sister.
There's someone like there as well.
Okay.
If we could. So you guys have various different projects that you're involved in, on top of your daily responsibilities of being like a father, a son, a husband. How do you divide your time amongst them all to ensure the success of both not only your business ventures but also your relationships?
I think that Omar mentioned something earlier, which was, or Josh, about having like good people around you, and I think that's such a cliche that people always use, but it's a really, really good one, because I remember one time in particular that I started getting like really, really about not anymore, but about a year and a half ago, I started getting really, really into the gym because I met Ajmal and Lats. As you could tell, it kind of faded out, but for about a year, I was like on it, like. And to the point where I would drive 1 hour after I finished work. So I'd finish work at 5, sometimes 6, drive an hour, 7, train for 2 hours with these guys, because these guys don't train for 45 minutes or an hour. I train for 2 hours and drive an hour home. So that's a 4 hours in my day. I'd get home at like 11. I was doing this for like a year, right? And alhamdulillah, I'm blessed with such an amazing family and an amazing wife who don't complain about this kind of stuff. And I remember one time I was explaining this like schedule that I do 4 times a week to Abdul Hakim, who sat down here. Do you remember this conversation we had? And we were just sat in our office, and I think it was like after hours, so it was just him there. And he said to me, he said, bro, you can't do that. And I said, but no one has an issue with it. He said, it doesn't matter that they don't have an issue with it. Your wife has rights over you, and you're not spending your time wisely. And it's true, and it really hit me, the conversation they had with me. So having people around you to tell you, because sometimes you do, when you get passionate about something, you do kind of waver off. It's normal. But to have people around you to tell you things that you don't always want to hear is really, really important.
I think having a family versus not having that, or pre-family, it's a bit like the concept of like drawing on paper without any lines on it and then one with lines on it. They're still the same kind of sheet, but the one with lines on it keeps you kind of controlled in a certain manner, it keeps you in certain boundaries. And that's what I like. I like the fact that I get to do what I need to do, but then I know that, for instance, when I'm not at home, any minute I'm spending outside of that, like Fast and I are brothers, right? But when we're in that work environment, like he's spending time with me at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and we're so like focused that it's almost like that brother guard goes, and it's just like, okay, well, if I'm not with my wife and kids right now, or my family, what are we building? What are we doing? You know, so because that time specifically is allocated to that. But just as much, when I'm then at home, nothing else like that matters. You know, I won't answer my call. Before, I used to be on a laptop in the evenings, all sorts. Now, that's like out the window, you know. It's like, okay, now I'm there, fully attention, my family. That's helped a lot, I think, be able to know where my boundaries are and then respecting them. And like Faisal said, like be able to see knowing who has rights of you as well. And then credit to Ajmal as well. Like since I started training and putting that as a focus, like my physical health, it helped so much in my efficiency of like the time I spent. Because I wasn't spending 8 hours on something, you know, I normally spend 8 hours on something that could be done in 4 hours. But when my mental health is better, my physical health is better, and my diet's better, I'm doing that stuff more efficiently, and then my whole life becomes a bit more efficient.
Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for asking your questions to our panel here. Josh and Omar, a big thank you to Josh and Omar for joining us. It's been amazing, very inspiring, very insightful, hasn't it, Sam?
Very good, yeah.
And now, before you guys go off, I wanted to bring on stage a guy called Sid, who... are you into poetry, Sam?
I like poetry, yeah.
I love poetry. And I especially love poetry that's like raw and like there's no back end, and it's just like, it just hits you spoken word. And Sid's one of those guys who perhaps hasn't had the limelight that he deserves. And so we'll all stay here before we go. But actually, let's give Sid the stage by himself. Yeah. So without any further ado, guys, I'd like to introduce you to Sid, who's going to perform for us. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. So I'm just going to do a bit of poetry for you guys. Before I start, I just want to say it's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm just going to get straight into it, inshallah. So this is a poem that I wrote really when I was contemplating my own actions as Muslims as well. And it's a poem about a person that wakes up in hell. So I'm just going to get into it, inshallah. Bismillah. Suddenly the dark seems to get darker, and the light seems to have diminished. The sun is a black circle in the sky, my life seems to have finished. The atmosphere is gruesome and my body begins to see the air heavy and thick and I can't seem to breathe. You see, I realize as I stand before a pit of fire so deep that I've awoken elsewhere from where I chose to sleep. My ears consumed by screams of agony and despair, my eyes witnessing an ocean of nightmares, and I finally speak. I don't deserve this, it's unfair, but the angel behind me responds, it was your sins that brought you here. Despite all the signs we sent down for you to be aware, you defied them in the verses of the book so clear. Didn't care about the afterlife, only worldly affairs, so don't you dare declare for your well-being and welfare. My body shivers in fear. I can't keep my hands steady. If I wasn't dead, my heart would have exploded already. You see, I must drop the remainder of courage and turn around swiftly as I speak to the angel of punishment directly, and I say, but I thought I would wake up to gardens, rich with verdancy, roses the color of burgundy with a feeling of fervency. So please do me the courtesy and explain this absurdity. I don't want to abide by this fire for all eternity. And the angel responds with the most deafening tone, his voice capable of shattering every single bone. He says, oh, son of Adam, you were given opportunities.
But your actions reflected lunacy. You committed mutiny. And then you walked the earth prudently as if you acquired immunity from the fire, presumably, but didn't realize your truancy. And I begin to wail at the top of my lungs. Please explain to me exactly what it is I have done. Why has my reckoning begun under this black sun when I believed in the being that created everyone? And the angel responds with the most threatening roar, very fearsome and powerful, much like before. He says, "Oh, son of Adam, you were given wealth, but you never gave to charity. Given speech, but polluted it with profanity. Given love, but disrespected your family and spewed hypocrisy and pathetic fallacies. And you were told to use kindness to treat one another, yet you never even smiled at your fellow brother. You questioned why you were cast into this eternal blaze, but when you felt lost, did you ever even lower your gaze? You abused the fact that we gave you eyes. Your tongue was tainted with nothing but lies, and your ears were deaf to the sound of cries all over the world. You didn't even sympathize. And when conflicts arose and it all got intense, you let it get worse. You sat on the fence. You were sent down with faith to be humanity's defense, yet you stood silent and watched the oppression commence. Oh, and did we not assign to you 5 appointments a day? You called yourself a Muslim, but did you even pray? The prayers which are there to keep you from going astray, yet now you sit here for eternity with this fire as your stay. Now at this point, every cell in my body begins panicking like never before, yet I'm paralyzed like a mannequin stuck to the floor. I'm trying to escape this fate I can't take anymore, but the darkness shrouds any windows and doors. Why did I treat my religion like it was a chore? Something I abhorred instead it was sin that I adored. I chose God as an enemy in this unwinnable war, and it led me here to hear this pit of fire roar. But still, I attempt to plea. It was Satan the one that tempted me. I tried to follow the rules attentively, but he misled me deceptively, so why has my Lord not then exempted me? Now the angel casts the most disapproving look. He stops reading out my sins and he shuts his book. As he turns to put the book back on its shelf, a voice from the distance says, "Oh, but Mr. Angel, I can speak for myself." Now every syllable slithers out of Satan's mouth like a snake as he says, "Why do you blame me for your mistakes? Yes, I promised you truth, but my truth was distorted. If you had only followed your Lord, then my plans would have been thwarted. But every time I called you to sin, you allowed it to begin. You allowed my essence to get under your skin. Every single one of my whispers were indeed replied to you. So you allowed this evil to seep inside you. It's funny because you were sent the verses of the book to guide you, but now you sit here to burn with me beside you." Now at this point, I realize I have no evidence against the devil. I'm completely cheated. I have no strength left to argue. I'm utterly defeated. To take one last look at the sun that emits no light. I see the angels around me sharpening their scythes. I see Satan smile as he succeeded with his schemes. As it seems I'm about to join this choir of painful screams. But wait. Wake up and it's all a dream. I run to the window to see the sun glisten and gleam. Screams of terror replaced with children running for ice cream. And I seem to snatch this moment at first glance. I'm free from death's dance. I've been given a second chance to enhance my stats in the next world in advance. So I'm here to fight evil with a defiant stance. See, I don't care if I fail in this life as long as I'm a success in the next. I'll say it with my chest, I'm here to aggress the devil with the holy vest. Stay blessed as I call shaitan stress and leave evil under me like an armrest. And I confess when I address the people that I'm scattered just like the rest. You see, I know that this life is the absolute test. I'm not sinless, my brothers. I'm just trying to sin less. I'm just trying to prepare for the day that he expands the grand plan. He who created man, خلق الإنسان, when he rolls up the lands in his hands and caused every single woman and man to stand with every strand and gland that they had from birth. You leave the dunya, but your deeds follow you from earth. Your wealth in this world doesn't determine your worth, only the sins that you've committed. But those that submitted will be acquitted because they benefited from what he permitted. So please go into prayer and have your sins admitted. I'm not trying to say don't enjoy yourselves, but we consume this life with too much fun. I've got brothers revising for exams, but their tests have begun. You can't run from the one that created the sun, trying to fight Allah, or trying to shoot the moon down with a toy gun. And so all I ask is that we make amends and prepare well before the end. And I intend to find my way there and ascend. And inshallah, I see you there too, my friends. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Hey guys, I just want to take a quick break to thank our charity sponsors for this event. Muntada Aid have launched their social media campaign this Ramadan and want you guys to help out. Check out their new website at muntadaaid.org and follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube to keep up to date and learn more about these social media campaigns. Let's get back into the episode.
How's it been so far, guys? Good? Yeah, inspiring?
Yeah.
Interactive? How was Sid the poet?
All right, guys, if you love Sid, you're really, really going to love the next guy. This guy, I've seen him on the scene for, oh my gosh, like maybe 2-3 years. And again, he's one of those guys that deserves a light to be shone on him. When he speaks from the heart with his poetry. It's someone who definitely doesn't have enough eyes and enough ears on him. So it's our pleasure, inshallah, to bring him onto the stage. So we're just going to wait a couple minutes for everyone to kind of get their seats together because when Annotate comes out here, you guys are going to want to hear what he has to say. So we'll just take a few minutes and we'll let everyone get into their seats. So in the meantime, Sam, how have you found the event so far?
Alhamdulillah, I think it's been very smooth. It's been good.
Who are you most excited for in the main event?
Muslim Belal.
Yeah, he's a heavy hitter.
He's a very heavy
But
hitter.
I think I'm excited for Silverback, A Healthy Mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they've got some big news
What's that?
today. Well, if I tell you. All right, guys, it looks like we're ready. So what we're going to do, guys, without any further ado, we're going to bring on Annotate. Kill it, bro.
Yes, thank you so much, Faisal and the team, for giving me this opportunity. It means a lot. I don't want to waste too much of your time, so without further ado, this piece is called Writer's Block. In the good old US of A, you can get shot for having black skin, kidnapped and murdered for being Muslim. In Great Britain, you can get bathed in acid by a supremacist, and shanked and beaten as a victim of prejudice. And if I'm exaggerating, somebody please explain to me why the lack of melanin is the measurement of relevant residents, accompanied by claims of white presidents, with individuals spitting the same hate as the president while preaching American reverence. Like, no blacks, no Muslims, no Mexicans. But growing up, I was taught that diversity is a good thing. Yet I hear him screaming, you don't belong here because of your skin, color, or your faith and religion. So what is living when this world is a prison? But hold on, wait. I'm half white. So does that mean I'm at least half entitled to white privilege? Maybe life would be all white if I was all right. I mean all right if I was all white. Like, what about those equal rights? Like, I just want to know why a man of color is Islam is harsh vilified than a white man that commits the same crime. When I was young, I used to wonder why they said the truth hurts, until I discovered how Malcolm and King returned to the earth. And these days when I think of the KKK, I'm reminded of Britain first. And I'm wondering what would happen if Muslims organized the protests outside of a church. I mean, I'm unsure what's worse. The fact that in some parts of the US, the KKK still operate, or that in the UK, Britain first are free to incite violence through hate. I should probably try not to be so biased to my black side. But I just want to know how many CDs it takes to end a person's life. Honestly, I just don't want to see any more black people choked to death on the justice system. And I'll admit, I'm scared of the day I have kids. And my son comes home from school one afternoon, runs upstairs to his room and goes in the internet and brings up Google. Then shortly after runs back downstairs and says, Dad, today I discovered I should keep it a secret. I pray 5 times a day. And when I ask him why, he replies, because I'm the media's definition of a terrorist. You see, it's funny because the definition of terrorism is the unlawful act of violence or intimidation, usually against civilians in the pursuit of political aims, which is why I find it insane that the media uses Islam to define what a terrorist is. But since we all fit the stereotype, let me be the first to say, please, terrorist, don't blow us up with your clock. And apologize for following a book that says killing one innocent soul is tantamount to killing the whole of humanity. And while we're on the subject, I just want to take a moment to say, humanity, we're all praying for you. I know you haven't been doing too well since neglect forced empathy to commit mass suicide. Like, how many times can humanity be subjected to genocide and still be expected to survive? And it's ironic how the paddock only holds men like Stephen within the frame of mental health and historical reasoning. And considering labels of race and religion specific, it would be a complete injustice for us to refer to a white Caucasian male that guns down 59 innocent people as anything less than a mentally challenged. So what does it mean to have freedom of speech when so many of us aren't really free to speak? With the objective being to nod along and abide by whatever it is the media and its propaganda teach. Like, Muslims are terrorists and all blacks are violent. Like, I can't breathe, but you better remain silent. Like, apologize for crimes you didn't commit. Like, I'm sorry I'm here as a consequence of war. Like, I'm sorry for taking the jobs that you never worked for. Like, I'm sorry for fleeing my country in hope of a change. Like, I'm sorry for declaring we all bleed the same. Like, I'm sorry this is my color of skin, and I'm sorry growing this beard is obscene, and I'm sorry for labeling myself a human being, and for claiming that the actions of the minority should never reflect that of the majority. And this is why I write, to be a voice for the voiceless in a time where it's easier to voice less. And the truth is the easiest way to get writers blocked, but the truth is the only reason I don't suffer from writer's block. Thank you very much, people. Assalamu alaikum.
Wow.
Amazing, right? now, brothers and sisters, who's ready for the main event tonight? We're gonna have over an hour with these guys, so we can really get into their minds. You guys are gonna be asking questions, inshallah. So, should we do it, Sam?
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. So, first of all, brothers and sisters, we'd like to bring on stage a very, very inspiring individual, very well spoken, very inspiring individual, someone who was on an episode of Freshly Grounded, and people were so surprised at how much they loved this episode, perhaps because they didn't quite know what they were going to get from it. But you'll see today how well spoken this guy is and how inspirational the way he's thinking is. Brothers and sisters, we'd like to first bring on stage Jibreel Hanzo. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, take a seat, man.
Lads.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I sitting here, yeah?
Yep. Well, then in that case, it only makes sense for us to then bring on Silverback AJ. We might need bigger chairs.
And last but not least, Muslim Belal.
Yeah, that's different. How are we all doing this fine evening?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so how this is going to work, guys, is similar to the last segment. We had a bunch of questions from the crowd, but before we went into the questions, we had a little icebreaker to enjoy ourselves. So we thought, why not do the same with our guests here today? So we're going to have a nice little fun and game segment before we get into it, and to start it off, we're going to go with Muslim Belal.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what's happening. Alright, Belal, here on these cards, we have some of your lyrics. And they could have been from years ago, they could have been from this year. And someone from the audience, who we're going to select, is going to come up and they're going to read the line, and you have to finish it off. Simple, right?
Sounds it, yeah.
It has to be simple, that. Alright, who's going to volunteer to come on and read their lines? Alright, Brother Naeem. Guys, Brother Naeem.
There you go, bro. Okay, let's do this. First one. Muslim Belal lyrics, cool. See, we expect too much, like we're living in a fantasy. Have you ever?
So that's, see, we expect too much, like we're living in a fantasy. Have you ever?
What am I meant to know? What comes next?
That's your lyrics.
It's your lyrics, man.
Oh man. You know I don't write my lyrics like that.
Well, this is Alright, here's a clue. We'll tell you if we tell you which piece is from. Does that help?
Too much. There's anyone? Maybe someone like them.
Anyone know?
Man.
No. Wait. Say it one more time. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I know it.
You got this, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, let's go for number two. Let's go for number two.
I know there's about to be a tragedy. Yes.
There you go. That's from his piece, Life.
Life, yeah.
Second one. My life ain't like theirs. We are not the same. I'm trying to build a
empire. They're trying to build their name.
Yes, the corner. Everyone's. There you go. Number three. You see, I don't do none of this for glory. I don't tell my story so that people can adore me. I just do it so. Ooh. Everyone's like, ooh.
Anyone think they know it?
I don't do none of this.
Come on, everyone do drum noise.
It's all on UMB.
There you go. Come on.
I don't do none of this for glory. I just tell my story. What? So the people.
We can tell you what poem it's from if you want.
Yeah.
What song is it from?
It's from Cry.
It's from Cry.
What is it? Cry?
Yeah.
You see, I don't do none of this for glory. I'm not going to do it in your rhythm, Bilal. You see, I don't do none of this for glory. I don't tell my story so that people can adore me. I just do it so.
Something about after me. It's something. I cried. You know, see them. I'm telling you, them.
Shall I give you the answer?
Give the answer.
The Lord that created me can erase the things that was destroying me.
Bad.
Woo! That's a good lyric.
I didn't even know it was that. I'm telling you, them ones there, I got in the studio and I just cry. I just lay it out.
Yeah.
I know that the beginning was about my daughter. That's all I know. But the end.
We got 3 or 4 more, so let's go with it.
Those are bury these questions, man. Number 4. He whispered to me, follow my lead. I didn't understand a word that they say, and I thought he was confused like me until.
I mean, then he raised his hands, then he went to his knees, then he raised back up, then he went to the floor, then he raised back up, then he went to the floor. That is confusing me for sure, but I didn't give up. Yeah. I know that one. Yeah.
Number 5. And remember that money isn't everything. I'm like, if that's the case, why?
Do they spend thousands on weddings?
Yes.
I'm talking to the Pakistanis in that lyric, by the way. Just so you know. And the Arabs, actually.
Yeah.
And the Arabs.
This next one, you got a lot of answering to do, Bilal. Name, hit him with it.
All right. This is tough, man. Would like to give her about 17 children.
Yeah. Anyone from Jamaica? Yeah.
2
10
people?
boys, 7 girls, and feed all of them.
Yes.
Boys to be soldiers, my girls to be wives. I'm not following my orders. That's when I live in a household of love.
Bars.
Yeah. Woo! To be fair, I wrote that lyric 13 years ago, so I was younger.
And it's still a bar, man. Like,
And I
still.
was-
Like.
I was young. I was like your age them times. So I had that energy, you get me?
But you make it like I'm 10, man. You're looking at, so this is number 7, last one, yeah? You're looking at a young son of Adam, father Sumayya, mirror to my brother, black slave.
You can't read my lyrics like that.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
You're disrespecting my lyric, bro.
But
That one there, listen to the words. Man saying I'm a young son of Adam, father of Sumayya, mirror to my brother, black slave of Allah. Like that's, you gotta like, them lyrics, that's some serious, that's a serious one. I'm a black Kunta Kente, house slave, field slave, young Daniel son, Muhammad is my sensei. I was spending money. You're looking at a young son of Adam, father of Sumayya, mirror to my brother, black slave of Allah, leader for the younger, follower of Sahaba, Muslim Belal named after Ibn Rabba. Mother was a struggler, daddy was a hustler, raised in the south in the center of the gutter. This is some good lyrics. I didn't even remember it. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Naim.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Well done, bro. Yo, who should I give this to?
You can pass the mic to the volunteer down there. Thank you. All right, that was Bilal. Now, whose segment should we do next? I think Mr. Hanzo. Now, Jibreel, as we know, you do a lot of counselling.
Alhamdulillah, yep.
And I was mentioning earlier that you're very well spoken and you see things with a very interesting perspective. And you counsel a lot of adults. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, and Sam thought to himself, it'll be interesting to see how Jibreel would counsel himself. So he thought, if Jibreel could speak to younger Jibreel, little Jibreel, how would Jibreel do? And then we thought, why don't we find out? So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage, little Jibreel.
You flipped it on me. You flipped it on me.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, Jibreel. give me some love, give me a high five. Jibreel, please take a seat and counsel yourself.
You flipped it on me. Oh my God. Drip is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Swagger's popping.
Lights come down as well.
I can't believe you did this, man. This guy asked me to get a young Muslim Belal, and he flipped it on me and brought a young Hanzo out.
Okay, Mini Jibreel, ask your older self any questions that you have that are going on in your life.
So, I was at school just doing my thing, and a girl in the playground told me that she likes me. What do I do?
He recruited wisely. Good casting. I would say at your age, how old are you?
9.
I say, I say at 9 years old, don't pay too much attention to it. Be easy, focus on yourself. At that age, you might get a lot of attention from girls and whatnot, but there's nothing to it at that time. Wait until you're older. This is crazy, man. This is this is what everything has to be organic, bro. This is like rehearsed. Damn, man. I'm not gonna get any clients from this. Go on, Mini Hanzo.
Obviously, management is very important. I get £5 per month pocket money. What's the best way of me spending it?
That's a good question. What do you like?
Video games.
Video games. Well, in that case, obviously, average video games about what, 35, 40 pounds?
About 50.
50. God damn. Okay, well then obviously the best thing for you to do is save it so that you can achieve what it is that's really important to you, what you enjoy. But then that takes self-discipline. So what you might do in life, and it's something you can learn later on in time, is that sometimes people have an ultimate goal, something that's very important to them, something that they're passionate about. But then it takes self-discipline and self-love in order to persevere and have the patience to achieve that goal. You know, so you might see some sweets that you really like, or something else that you like that's cheaper. So say, for example, you saved up £20 and you come across something that's okay. It's not your main goal. It's not something that you desire more than anything. It's not going to bring you the most value. But if you don't have that patience, if you don't have that discipline and self-love to wait to achieve the greater goal, then you'll squander that £20 and you'll never end up getting that computer game that you want. Do you understand? So now I'm getting really into it now. You know, but that's my advice to you. Be patient, wait, have tunnel vision for that computer game that you want, and inshallah ta'ala you get there.
Okay. Next question. Okay then. Sometimes people are like, yo, Mini Jibreel, fashion game is fire. What's the best way to accept this compliment? Seriously, what's the best way?
Do you know what you tell them? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about sweetheart. That's that splat. That's that splat right there.
That's my secret.
That's that splat.
That's my secret.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart. That's what you tell them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next card. How do I block out those haters out there?
That's a good question. That's a good question as well. There's a lot of them. Well, it comes with knowing yourself. If you know yourself, you know your truth, you know your values, and you stand on them, then the weight of a hater is very light. It's like a feather. Whereas if you don't know yourself, or you happen to actually be someone who deserves it, then the weight of a hater can be very, very heavy on you. So the most important person to please, there's two things. One is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your creator, and then yourself. It's really important for your self-image psychology that you have an idea in your mind as to who you are, what your values are, who you want to be. So when you can look in the mirror and you know yourself. When you're in that place and you reach that space, and it really, that you can have a million haters, wallahi, it wouldn't have any effect on you whatsoever in the slightest. But if you've got that inner conflict and you're not sure about who you are, or you haven't allowed yourself to be a person that you can be proud of, then you're going to be in trouble, because those haters will have an effect on you. Yo, this kid's sick.
Okay. When I'm older and I have children, how can I be the best dad to them? Unlike you.
That's a real good question. That's something that you can't teach. That's something that you can't teach. When you have a child or when you have children, there's something very unique, something very special about it. I can't advise you as to this. This is something that you, or I don't, at least at this time, I don't feel it's something I could advise you about. This is something that you have to live through and experience. But when you're having children, you have to show them love, a lot of love, excessive amount of love. And you have to build up their self-esteem, their self-confidence, which is something that not a lot of parents do. You listening? All right. And yeah, you'll see when you get there.
Okay. Okay then. Okay.
Alright.
What is the final piece of your advice you would give me when I get older and become big Jibreel like you? Obviously, I will be mini Jibreel right now, so I get big like you. Yeah. Yeah.
It would honestly be the most important thing I'd say is to make sure you develop a relationship with Allah when the inspiration and the motivation is there, and never take it for granted, because there are times in your life where your iman is up, and when your iman is up, you invest in yourself in ways of how you spend your time. For example, I know some brothers, they invest their time in memorizing Quran, learning tajweed, attending classes. A person who invests their time in that manner is directly linked to their level of iman, because when your iman is low, these things are very difficult to do. So when you invest your time wisely, when your iman is up, it will hold you down when your iman is low. The things that you learn, the values, the mindsets that develop, they hold you down. So take advantage of the opportunities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you when your iman is up. It's like a way of investing in yourself.
Okay, that was the last question, everyone.
Brothers and sisters, give it up for Mini Jibreel. Well done, you smashed it. You're just going to take you off the stage here.
You casted him well.
Sam, we didn't really have an icebreaker for Ajmal Lats, but I'm thinking.
I know what you're thinking.
I mean,
I know what you're thinking.
seeing as we have it there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I mean, do you guys want to? Guys, I think that we've got a good old arm wrestle on our hands.
It's supposed to.
Ajmal Lats.
It's supposed to be unity, and you're kind of like breaking it. But the thing is, he's left-handed. I'm right-handed.
Someone's gonna have to. Someone's gonna have to
I'll
give
go
it.
left-handed.
Okay. Oh, that's confidence.
No, not like that though.
Can we get the lights, please, guys?
Oh my days. It's just my excuse.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. What a way to start, eh?
Sam, you give him the go-ahead when starting.
I've got an excuse to lose, so.
Are we
Hey, no
Are we
tactic.
legit actually doing this?
Yeah, we're doing this.
Wow. Right then.
On Sam's word.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh!
It looks like we're drawing, man.
I think it's a draw.
We can't break it.
Someone's got to win. I swear it's a draw. Nah, I can't, man. Try it. Nah, it's not happening.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that. It's a draw, guys.
Right. Oh my days.
Let's get into it. So there's the mic is down here. One of the mics down here. Again, I think we have a couple mics in the crowd, guys. We've got about an hour, so we can really get into it. So look, you guys kind of got to see the personalities, and you got to see what these guys are about. They're hugely inspirational people. They're people who both Sam and I have taken a lot of lessons from ourselves. So let's get into it. Let's fire away. So you can ask anyone on the panel any questions, and feel free to raise your hands.
This question is for Ajmal. I was just wondering, what actually got you to the stage that you're at right now, and what challenges did you go through to get there, and how did you actually overcome it?
In what sense? Like,
so right now you're in the fitness journey, right?
Yeah.
But before that, was there something else that helped you to get to where you are now, or what's the situation like? How did you become the person that you are today? Because for myself, I can only speak for myself. Obviously, you're a huge inspiration, alhamdulillah. So
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
So the same way, I just want to know, what journey did you go through to get to where you are now, and is there anything that we can learn along the way?
I think, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. First of all, I just want to say, like, appreciate you all coming out. It means a lot. And I just want to show a lot of respect to Faisal, because I don't know if you lot remember. Sorry, I'll get to your question. Yeah, I just want to say, do you remember when we did the first podcast in your bedroom? And it was mad. And look where you are now. Alhamdulillah, bro. Back to your question. I say it's very important, yeah, to keep with you like very supportive people that have positive mindset and that really want to push you to reach your goals. And that's in all aspects of life, not just fitness, in terms of your spirituality, people that can help develop your character. And for me, honestly, it started from home. And you know, your home is your foundation. So if you've got like a good foundation at home, and inshallah, I hope a lot of you do, that will really help build you into the person you are. And then along the way, you'll have many life experiences. So like going to university, meeting new people, and then along the way, there's a saying, they say, show me your companions, show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. And like people you see up here, these are my companions, alhamdulillah, and they really help like define you as a person as well. And they're uplifting, like my brother Lats, like I've known him for like 7 years now. We kind of like clicked from day one. And I think it's important to find people that you share similar interests and similar interests in, and that way you can just like grow together and you can inspire each other. And inshallah, don't forget everything's written. And yeah, you just got to work hard as well. Like you can't, people say qadar Allah, but it's qadar Allah, but you have to work as well. You understand what I'm saying? Like some people just say, oh, it's not working out, qadar Allah, but are you being lazy? Are you actually going out there and getting it? So yeah, that's about it, man. Hope that answered your question. Thanks, bro.
Assalamu alaikum. Besides just, this is for health mindset and Ajma, inshallah. Besides fitness, was there anything else that you wanted to do there's something else that you wanted to do that you couldn't do because you went into the position you're in now?
Well, me growing up, I was always into sports. When I was young, I was always doing something. I was doing something crazy like skateboarding. Then I went into like football. So for a long period of my life, I dedicated a lot of time towards football until I met Ajmal 7 years ago, and he kind of got me into more of the bodybuilding. And obviously, as I was getting older, I realized football's becoming harder with injuries, and I made a lot of mistakes in terms of preparation for football that I take on board now. So I prepare myself for the gym now so that I can be the best version of myself, because I kind of didn't have that ear in my, the voice in my ear to become the best footballer, because I got too distracted growing up. But yeah, that was my, for me when I was younger, it's football. And it helped me a lot, even to today, because it's helped me to where I am today. So, alhamdulillah. What about you?
Mine's kind of funny. Basically, when I was young, I used to always love singing. Yeah, it's a bit mad. And I actually went on X Factor. Yeah. I told you like this. You know.
I didn't know that.
I told you. You know this. I was young at the time. I think I was in first year of uni. I was around 17, 18. And then, what was that? Nah. And then I remember, like, obviously I got quite far. Like, how they made it look like on the TV is like you just go straight to the live shows, but there's like 4 auditions before. And I remember just going right to the end, one audition, bang, bang, bang. And I was actually, look, I'm like 18, I'm excited. I'm like, I'm gonna be famous. All this kind of stuff running through your head. And yeah, I literally got to that stage and they said to me, look, no doubt we'll be seeing you again. And I was like, the next stage was being on TV. And then, qadr Allah, like, it didn't work out. And then look, as I started hanging around with the right kind of brothers, learning a little bit about the deen, you learn that music's haram. And then obviously there's the nasheed side of things. We're doing something, but it's a bit on the, yeah, so then I just left it. But yeah, that's basically one of the things that I wanted to do. But then obviously how your life plans out, it didn't happen, and alhamdulillah, because imagine
if I did, then I could have been some lost soul, you know. So
I'm big star in Afghanistan.
yeah.
I know the sister had a question in the corner there. Just a few kind of in the middle.
Assalamu alaikum. This is open to the floor, but it's in light of particularly Brother Jibreel's podcast. Especially when you're talking about how in hardship you find things you'd never find in ease. And in light of that, especially like coming from a family that aren't like Muslim, it's difficult to kind of console your own family because it's difficult to kind of get on that level with them. And I just want to ask a question. When you're watching someone pretty much like deteriorate in front of your eyes, it takes that sort... Sorry, this is quite a deep question, so I apologize in advance. But it takes like a bit of a mental hit on you. How do you prevent traumatic experiences from really like affecting you as a person, your mental state, and just how you function? Jazakallah khair.
Well, Jazak. I had a client whose sister... her family home was very, very precious to her. It was a safe place. It was a place where when she went home, she was very much at ease. She had a lot of honor, a lot of Isa in the sense of the family structure. And she had a sister who was deviating away from the deen, and it was causing her a lot of distress, to the point where you could describe it as perhaps maybe obsessively and extremely going at her sister, constantly calling her 17 times, 20 times, where are you, da-da-da-da. So I was observing her behavior, and I said to her, I think that your actions are maybe more coming from a selfish place rather than a caring place. And it's important to care. It's important to care. And sometimes caring hurts, but it's necessary in some instances. And sometimes, depending on the circumstances, and depending on how much this situation is affecting you mentally in your relationship with Allah, sometimes it's important to step away as well. If it's negatively impacting your mental well-being, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you're able to maintain some of the difficulties that come with caring, then it's always important to do so. But the reason why I said that I felt like her actions were coming from perhaps a selfish place is because she wasn't so, I believe, that it wasn't so much so her sister that she was concerned with. The grief was coming from the fact that her sister's affecting her peace. Her actions are affecting her sanctuary, which is the home, affecting the parents, affecting the siblings. And it's really, really important as individuals. One of the greatest things that we can possess is emotional independence. And it's something that a lot of people lack, where their happiness and their contentment is controlled so much by exterior factors. Even if they're mum, dad, brother, sister, husband or wife, you can't go through life that way, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't created human beings to fit your exact desires for who it is that you want, or you want them to be a particular way. Life just doesn't go like that. And you need to be able to be independent emotionally and be able to stand on your own, where your contentment is within yourself. No doubt you're not supposed to be a robot and anything happens to you in life and you shouldn't feel a way about it. But obviously there's levels, do you understand? So if you're in a situation where you have someone dear to you, someone perhaps in your household who's deviating away and is causing you a lot of distress, then care for them, make dua for them, show them love and compassion, but check yourself, check your intentions, and be wise in how you deal with these individuals. Everybody has their journey. Perhaps this individual who's struggling now may become better than you at a time. Wallahi, all of these things are possible. And as I was saying, through trials, sorry if I'm taking too long, cut me off, but trials are, like I said on Noor's podcast recently, is a fantastic opportunity. It's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's placed like a treasure chest in front of you that was otherwise not there. And inside that treasure chest are amazing things that you otherwise wouldn't have had. You know that hadith about how, with a statement of Prophet ﷺ, where he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests those that he loves. Sometimes if you haven't really been tested, or you haven't reaped the fruits of a test, he might be like, you can't take it seriously. Like, what do you mean you test someone that you love? Like, how How is taking away someone's wife? How is your children, all of a sudden you're sitting in the living room eating and all of a sudden a bomb drops and your children are gone? How is that love? But wallahi, you don't know and you can't comprehend it until you reap the fruits of being patient through trials and opening that treasure chest. You know, so for that individual who's struggling, perhaps maybe they will benefit massively from their trial. Allah knows best. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant anyone ease who's going through difficulties within their households. And don't be afraid to care for individuals, but always sometimes you have to put yourself first as well. And I advise that individual actually to step back. I advise them to step back, and they text me the other day, actually, with a beautiful message. And sometimes I think to share these things on my Ikhlas counselling page, but I have this conflict where I find it very difficult to share something with someone, with other people, when a message has been written for me and sent to me directly, that I don't even like to ask people, can I share it? Because it would be great promotion, but they're very personal things. But she's in a much better place mentally. She's working abroad now. She's getting married. You know, her sister's circumstances aren't much better. They haven't improved, but that's external to her. She has her own life and her own trials, but she's a happier individual and her relationship with Allah is better, and that's what's important.
Now that I got the mic, I thought I'd ask a question. So my question is for Lat. Obviously, you're part of Team Joshua, and obviously Anthony Joshua is very successful. He's world champion, and to be a world champion, you need a specific mindset. And I was wondering, just being a part of his team, seeing Anthony Joshua in his personal life, what kind of impact has that had on you? And obviously, you've grown as a person as well, and what kind of impact have you had on Anthony Joshua?
He's probably one of the most inspirational people I know. Just his discipline from when he started, it's like his brain just ticked. He just went from one person to another. Like he always says to me, like I've been given this blessing, and I don't want to waste my time. Like he knows it's a blessing, you know, and I take that as well. Like whatever you're doing, you know, whether you're helping, doing charity work, whether you're working in a school, you've been given this blessing, so you have to make the most of what you've been given. Just because he's on a bigger platform, you know, you could be doing something smaller, but it could be more love to God. So I just take that and use it for myself and try and do the best I can. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is for Jibreel. So when we're around our brothers and sisters, obviously we're positive minded and whatnot, but it tends to be when we're in isolation, we tend to be negative and we tend to be down and whatnot. So how would you say we, make use of our isolation and make it into something positive and not say, down and whatnot?
It wouldn't surprise me that if you observe the times when you're in your isolation and you're feeling down, you're also not being productive. I find it very, very hard to imagine that an individual is being productive by themselves, doing something of benefit, and at the same time they're feeling down. It's something that the Prophet ﷺ advised us against, sort of being alone. Obviously the shaitan loves to attack an individual in those circumstances, and many individuals find it hard to spend time alone. They always have to be around company. They can't be at home. They always have to be out doing something. But it's important to be able to enjoy your own time. It's important to be able to, that sort of comes back to that emotional independence, that lack of needing someone, of needing people. There's an advice that Jibreel alayhi salam gave to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He gave him 5 advices, and from amongst those advices, I don't want to quote it incorrectly, but a person's honor, their dignity, is in being free from the need of people. So just because perhaps maybe you're someone who experiences negative thoughts when you're alone. Never shy away from being alone. Challenge yourself to spend time alone. Challenge yourself to think in a positive manner when you're by yourself, and be productive. Sometimes I'm by myself, and I'll be scrolling on Instagram for a long time. I start feeling down. But I feel like that's the punishment of wasting time. Some of the scholars say that wasting time is a sin. It's haram to waste time. Time is such a valuable asset, or commodity, perhaps you may say. So I would say that if you're an individual who feels down a lot when you're by yourself, then ask yourself why. What is it that's making me down? What am I anxious about? What am I worried about? And one of the greatest, one of the easiest, it's like a life hack, this thing, but sometimes it's very difficult. Shaitan puts up a barrier between us and the Quran. It happens with myself. I advise people so often, if there's something that you want, if there's something you want to overcome, to recite the Quran with the intention for what it is that you want. So that don't recite the Quran without an intention. For example, you may want to be a more positive and optimistic individual. If you recite the Quran, and before you begin, start with the intention of, oh Allah, I'm reciting the Quran in order to be optimistic, in order to be productive, in order to be positive. By Allah, you'll achieve that. By Allah, you'll achieve it. It's very, very difficult to recite the Quran and be in a negative state. So perhaps you might want to ask yourself, what's your relationship with the Quran like? Do you recite the Quran when you're by yourself? But as I said, it's easier said than done. I'm someone who's, through first hand, has experienced the maddest benefits of reciting the Quran. Remember you spoke about that situation at work? I mean, Faisal, I'm not sure if you remember in the podcast, Faisal spoke about how he had a situation that seemed as though he had no options, no avenue to make it happen. And without learning this mindset, without knowing it, alhamdulillah, Allah guided him to recite the Quran with the intention for Allah to aid him in that, and he was aided. Instantly.
Well, I think maybe even while reading the Quran, I got a phone call that just fixed the issue.
But even despite that, ask Faisal how much Quran he recites now. Ask me how much Quran I recite now. Sometimes it's the curse of insan, wallahi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aids us, and then we feel as though we don't have much of a need, and we kind of turn away from that thing slightly. So just because I'm advising you this and I'm making it sound easy and simple, wallahi, I know it's not. I know Shaitan puts up a barrier between us and the Quran, but if you can break that barrier down and build a relationship with it, I think that this issue would go completely.
Belal, Jibreel was just kind of talking about the idea of kind of building a relationship with the Quran, and I know that out of all of us here, you're the one who probably has kind of the oldest child. And what is it difficult to bring your child into having a relationship with the Quran?
Is it difficult?
How do you build that?
I think it's important. I don't live with my child, so I have to thank her mother for being such an amazing woman and for installing that in my daughter a lot. As co-parents, we both do that. She goes to Arabic school on the weekend, but we make her love it. So I do little small things like, if we're driving and we're looking for a parking space, I say quickly, everyone ask Allah to find us a parking space with the kid. Little small things, so they always think that in everything we turn to Allah. Everything. So the other day I had her and her little brother stay at my house, and I'm listening to them in the room, but I pretend that I'm gone. In the room they're sleeping, they leave the door open a little bit. And I know they're a bit scared, so I heard him say, Yaya, can you do the dua over me, please? And I hear my daughter doing the dua, and then she's like blowing in her hands, wiping over it. So I'm seeing these are because this is what I do with them, and when they're with their mum, this is what mum does with them. I'm seeing them on their own now, as a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old doing it. So they follow what they see, really. So what we practice, you have to make it enjoyable though, and you have to make it not seem like a burden, like it's just a standard procedure, because I don't really force anything on my daughter. And I don't make her feel like, even if there's sweets in the shop, I say they're not halal, but if you want them, you can have them. What are you saying? She's like, I said, it's up to you. I'm not going to have them because it's not halal. You? What are you saying? He's like, no, I'm not going to have them. I let them make their own decisions. But yeah, it's important. The Quran is going to help us, innit? I come from the dirt with no Islam, no nothing, no guidance, no religion, nothing. The Quran, this Islam is my savior. So I have to install it in my daughter. Like, we have to. Like, sometimes we complicate this life, and like we message each other with problems and issues. Like, I need help, I need advice. When the truth is, it's much more simple than we think. If we go back to the essence of this religion, how it was revealed, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the messengers, this is it. There is a Lord above you, worship your creator. Turn to him when you need help. There is no might, no power except with him. It's actually simpler than we think. We complicate a lot of things. And if you remember Allah, Allah will remember you. It's like quite simple like that. So sometimes when we have problems and issues, it's just go back to the essence. Just remember Allah, and Allah will remember you.
That comes with practice as well, though,
Of
innit?
course.
Because sometimes you
And
be going
experience.
Exactly, you be going through stuff, and these simple life hacks, these blessings that this religion has gave us, you're blind to them, you're not conscious of them, you forget them. You might be someone who overthinks excessively, and that overthinking is causing you immense grief, and you forget that if you say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim 3 times to your left shoulder, shaitan runs away because that spitting is burning him. But you just forget, and you let your overthinking consume you. So it's practice, making it part of your lifestyle is what allows you to implement the things that Muslim Belal was talking about.
Sam, you have your children are a lot younger than Bilal's. How have you found kind of building a relationship with the Quran with them?
I'd say the expression monkey see, monkey do is very relevant, because ultimately they see what you do and they will copy you. So what are you doing? And whatever you're doing, you expect your children to follow you. So alhamdulillah, my oldest is 3 years old, and he stands next to me in Salah sometimes. And it's beautiful. He hasn't got a clue what's going on, but he knows that Papa's praying and that he's standing there like that, and then he's on the floor and I see his little finger moving. Alhamdulillah, he hasn't got a clue, but monkey see, monkey do. If he sees me do it, he's going to do it. Do you know what I mean? So just try and be the example, as simple as that.
I have a similar story with my nephew, who, when I'm praying, I've prayed a few times, and then the only bit that he does know is he knows to say Ameen, because everyone in Jumu'ah says it so loudly. So like sometimes when you're praying, you can feel that he's just waiting to say Ameen. He's like, he's building up. He's like, this is my bit, and I'm like, well, Allah, and he's like, Ameen. That's nice. You're right. They do kind of copy it. Guys, have we got any more questions for the floor? Yep, go ahead, sister. In just over there, we've got the sister with a hand up. Oh, sorry.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, sorry. Wa alaikum salam. And then after, then the sister in the burgundy, inshallah.
My message is for Sam. I'd like to know what it was like for you when you reverted, and how people reacted to you, your family and friends.
How was it? It was quite tough, to be fair, and it was quite tough. It was quite a tough year, but really, it was just about being a good example. I became Muslim. I went from the opposite lifestyle, from doing certain things, to then my parents, all they would hear me talk about is God and Allah and religion, and money is not everything, and this, that and the other. So I kind of went from one extreme to the other, which I don't think did me many good favours. But after a course of months of just trying to be a good example, and ultimately just trying to be a good Muslim, and ultimately just trying to follow the Sunnah as much as I could, you can't really knock it, to be fair. And alhamdulillah, my parents are quite proud of me now, and they know they can't knock the religion that I follow, because ultimately when you follow it correctly, how can you knock it? Because it's perfect. So it was tough, but alhamdulillah now it's better than it ever was, so alhamdulillah.
How did you find kind of because no doubt that, you've mentioned to me before that one of, or the number one thing in a revert Muslim's life is like the dream of their parents taking Shahada, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that on a day-in-day basis? Is it something that you think of every day, or how does that work?
Originally it was something that I used to think about every day. And then you try and give for anyone, you try and give someone dawah, and you think it's as easy as just telling them this simple message that we all, we know is true, and it seems so simple, but trying to relay that onto someone who, firstly, isn't spiritual, doesn't believe there's any sort of purpose, it's quite hard work. So, our job is to deliver the message, and the rest is with Allah ultimately. So whoever Allah guides, no one can misguide. And whoever is misguided by Allah, you can't guide. So you do your bit, you drop the message. you do your bit of trying to, show them what Islam is, but guidance is with Allah. So, you make dua.
Bilal, I know you've discussed it a few times, or quite a lot of times before on various platforms, but I don't think I've ever heard the story myself. I know it's maybe a long one, but how was the journey from you becoming a Muslim to your mum becoming a Muslim?
It was about 2 and a bit years. But we grew up heavily in the church, so my mum, I remember, she used to just send me to Crusaders, Pathfinders, Bible studies, Sunday school, holidays with the church. So when I converted to Islam, I only really, family-wise, it was only me, my mum, and my sister. So it was like a small family, not really, no grandparents, aunties, uncles, nothing like that, cousins. So it's just me, my mum, and my sister. So I really, really badly wanted to save them. I felt like I've found this gem, this amazing thing. I have to save my mum and my sister. So I go in the house and I'm locking the door, look, listen to me, trying to spread the message. And my mum's drinking and I'm saying, give me that, pouring it down the sink. This will take you to the hellfire, mum, just onto them. But I think they felt like I was going mad at that stage. Lord, I remember my mum, I don't know what's wrong with your brother, to my sister. My sister's yeah, are you alright? Is everything okay, Ash? And in them early stages, I think I was a bit of a know-it-all. Read 2 books, felt like I knew everything. I was acting like I just graduated from Medina University, just giving them it hard, walking around in my phobe, but I was just on it. But you know what? After a while, the more you learn, it's the more comfortable and relaxed you become within your faith, and it starts to change your character. So my actions were changing, but my character, it's like my character was getting worse. So my actions were changing, I'm a praying man now, and I'm a man that's fasting now, but it's like I had a bad attitude, and I felt like I was better than them because they weren't Muslim. And it's like I was looking down on them, I've got the ticket to heaven and you ain't, and you need to join. And this was very bad, very, very bad, this kind of mannerism. And it wasn't until more I was learning, the calmer I became, the more polite I became, more good manners I had, till I remember my mum was watching a video in one of my DVDs from it was Indian, not Zaha, Ahmed Deedat was debating a Christian, and my mum's watching it saying, yeah, he's saying about Jesus, he's talking about Jesus. I said, yeah, mum, she goes, for real, let me get my Bible out. So she got her Bible out and she's watching it, and I'm watching my mum from the corner, and I remember my mum's nah, because the Muslim is debating a Christian, and my mum's saying, why is the Christian shouting like that? And look at the Muslim, just understand. Can't listen to what the man's saying, but she's talking to the TV. She used to do that anyway. So she's talking to the TV. So I just thought I'm just going to leave her. And I just remember watching from the wall where the door is, and my mum's the Muslim, Ahmed Deedat, bless him, he's in the Bible, chapter 1, verse this, page that, read what it says, there will be, and the Christian's going, and Jesus is the King of the Kings, and mum's saying, listen to what the man's saying, he's saying in the Bible. So my mum's got her Bible and she's saying, it's right, he's right, and I just saw tears dropping down my mum's face. At that point, I just run upstairs to my room, and I said, just bang 2 rakah quick, Allah, please, just make this, just enter her heart, please. I ain't gonna, just give me this. Until I was going to Egypt, I felt I just weren't good enough as a Muslim, so I was going to Egypt, and that day when I was going to Egypt, my mum said she wants to come to the mosque with me. She wants to spend the day with me before I go. She wants to come to the mosque. I said, it's Eid, I got to go. She's like, look, I want to come. I got my headscarf. I just want to come. I want to spend the whole day with you. You're going to Egypt tomorrow. I said, all right, then come. So when she's come to the mosque, I said to my brother, look, you have to bring your wife, because my mum's coming. Bring your wife. My brother Shahid, so he brought his wife. Said, take her, let's go Regent's Park. There's loads of different types of Muslims there, different races. I said, and she's gone in the women's section with my friend's wife. And then when I phoned them after we finished the prayer to say, what, are you ready? Are they ready to go? It's yeah, they're ready. They're both ready. I said, all right, cool, meet you in the car park. She's like, why are you going to the car park? They're both ready. I said, what is he saying? He goes, yeah, he's saying your mum and your sister are both ready to take Shahada now. So I said, what? Phoned the Imam, he was my private teacher, Ahmed Nazar. in Regent's Park, said, my mum's here. She wants to take Shahada. So he says, what about Egypt? Because he's the one who told me to go to Egypt. You still going? I said, yeah, but I remember just watching them in the office do it. I went to Egypt the next day. But that moment was like, I could just die now. Like, I'm read. That just was like, seeing my mum in there, like, saying them words and struggling. And I remember she was like, I'll take the name Mariam. And my sister was like, yeah, I'll take the name Aisha. I was like, this is mad. And now, I go around there and just check my mum. She's married as well. Like, she's married to her husband, next old school Jamaican man that I know from back in Muslim. I see their little Quran on the side. Don't get me wrong, they're up and down like me. But I just think you two are Muslim. Like, there's the prayer, man. Like, alhamdulillah, that's it. Yeah.
SubhanAllah. What an amazing story. Because I know, Lats, for you the story was kind of different. Because am I right in saying that your sister actually gave you da'wah?
Yeah, from a young age.
So how did that go?
She became Muslim at the age of 15. She's 9 years older than me. So from young, she just she never really taught me too much about Islam because it was new to her. And she just went and found the religion herself, went to a mosque. But yes, she always just implanted in my heart to believe in one God, and just obviously not put partners with him. So that kind of stayed in my heart growing up. And I always saw her as a role model because she got married, had kids. So I'd always see her as like this perfect woman. And then just when I got older, I was going to church and stuff, and it just didn't sit right in my heart because they was talking about Jesus and stuff. And I remember the words she used to say in my ears. And then one night I just had tears. I was just like, nah, this I don't feel right. Like, what is it? Like, I'm trying to better myself. And then the next day, that's when AJ messaged me. It was just like, look, we've been going to church, let's go to a mosque. So from there, just left. The rest is history. It's a long story, but alhamdulillah, that's how Allah, guided me. Yeah.
Jibreel, it kind of makes sense. We kind of said, yeah, guys.
Thank you.
So we've all got siblings. Well, almost all, I think all of us on stage here have siblings, and we know what it's like to have a good relationship with your siblings, etc. For you, it's slightly different because you obviously have a twin brother, and not only do you have a twin brother, but you have an identical twin brother. And the thing that I always find the most amazing about your story, and I found it so amazing when I was watching it on Roadside to Islam all those years ago, before I even knew you, is that you and your twin brother both accepted Islam around the same time? How did that go?
I came back from celebrating my 21st birthday. I was with some of my boys, and we went to Manchester. And every Sunday, because obviously it was my dad that raised me and my brother, but every Sunday we would always go to our mums. So that sunnah remained until we was in our early 20s, until my mum and my brother sold the house. And so even I was coming back from Manchester on the Sunday, I went straight to my mum's. And then I walked in the kitchen and I saw Ilyas with like an afro, wearing the Moroccan type thobe, socks and sandals. And I was just like, right, what's going on here, kind of thing, a little bit confused. And he told me that he was a Muslim. And that didn't shock me or faze me or anything like that. I didn't really know much about the Muslims, but we would just debate and argue and discuss. There's about 6 months difference between us in terms of our Islam. And during that 6 months, it was alhamdulillah, my brother, through his, again, I remember I spoke about the advice that I'd give to myself, using that zeal, using that iman as a beneficial time. My brother used his at that time and used it to help me. And now every single act of ibadah, I was crying to my brother on the day. It was actually the day of what happened in New Zealand. I don't know if it was because I was feeling emotional on that Friday, but I was crying to him in the kaf, subhanAllah, because I was thinking about the status of a person who calls you to Islam. For example, MB's mum. To MB's mum, even though the status of the mother is so high, think about his status, his honor with his mum, that he called her to Islam. And I was thinking that, subhanAllah, my brother called me to Islam. It's a very emotional thing, but subhanAllah. He spent, during that whole 6 months, it was him sending me Murtaza Khan lectures at 3 o'clock in the morning. These times I'm listening to music at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm up. and debating how comes Muslim men can do this and how comes that. And he always had an answer. Even though he was new to the deen, he had an answer, and the answer always struck me. The answer always made sense. Although I'd conceal it, I wouldn't concede defeat, but really and truly I'd concede it in my heart. And then after time of him sending me these lectures and listening to them, I sort of grew in certainty. And there was a community day at Lewisham Islamic Centre, and I went, and yeah, a little bit like the brother said, the rest is history, man, alhamdulillah. Yeah.
Wow. Moses, we're open for some questions. We had a sister, just take the mic.
Assalamu alaikum. This is for Jibreel. So we live in a society, obviously, with social media and whatnot, and children growing up in this day and age see all of this. My question was, how do we raise children with a steady mental state in terms of where they don't fall into the depression and low self-esteem and low self-confidence?
Well, it's a little bit like wearing a white jilbab or a white thobe and walking through a muddy, wet forest and expecting to come out clean. Like in this life that we live in these times that we live in, the truth of the matter is really these are quite disturbing, filthy times, really and truly. That's the reality of the matter. And we're all in the dirt, we're all in the mud, and it's hard to come out clean. It's really hard to come out clean. But one thing that parents should do, and I don't know if it's a black thing or an Asian thing or Somali thing, but certainly it's the same regardless of Muslim or non-Muslim. In a black community, I've seen it as well, obviously being raised by a black man. Like parents, I don't know what it is about them, man, but they love to knock their kids. You know, they always comparing them to someone, they're always comparing them to a cousin, or they're always putting them down, or it's detrimental. So many of my clients, I won't say what nationality they come from, but about 95% of my clients, they all come from a particular background, ethnicity. And there's a poem, I don't know, I can't say the name of the poem, but it's parents you up, basically. And they can really mess you up. And we should learn from their mistakes. We should learn from their mistakes. We should always encourage them. We should always uplift them. We should always tell them that we love them. I tell my daughters that I love them about maybe 40 times a day, 30 times a day, maybe being a bit more conservative, about 30 times a day. And I kiss them about 30 times a day, literally, each of them. And there's not enough of that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm happy with her if she's not particularly the smartest kid. She doesn't seem to be. Do you know what I'm saying? But she be frustrating me sometimes, but I say, I be trying to do homework with her and I'm like, or Quran with her, and she'll recite I'll be teaching her Iyaka na'budu wa Iyaka nasta'in, and I'll break it up into two, and she'll do it correct. When breaking it up, she'll do it right 20 times in a row, and I'll ask her to recite the ayah and she can't recite, and it's just crazy. But she's a creative. So one of the brothers mentioned about a statement of Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi, it was Sunnah Remedies who mentioned it, about when you see a child with certain qualities and skills, and invest and put your energy into guiding them along that path. A lot of parents, they don't appreciate non-academic qualities. So they be trying to force their kids into something that they're not. They're not meant to be that. That's not the skills and assets that Allah gave them. That's not the desire that they have. So as a parent, observe your child's natural gifts and encourage them in it. You know, be supportive, be encouraging, never put them down in front of people. These things destroy their self-esteem. And if you can, it's a mission impossible, it seems to me. I've tried to visualize doing this, but I don't know how it's going to be possible, really. And try and keep them away from social media, to be quite frank with you. Social media has a lot of benefits in it, don't get me wrong. But overall, my inclination is to say that the harm outweighs the benefit. So I would love it if my daughters never have Instagram, and I'd love it if they never have Twitter. It will be better for them. But I don't know how you're going to achieve that. I don't know how any of us are going to achieve it. Individuals grow up, they have their friends, and they crack on with whatever it is that they're doing. But anyway, to the point, be encouraging, be supportive. Don't try and force them to be what you perceive as success. You know, let them grow. And that's the best advice I can offer for that.
Jazakallah khair. Ajmal, it's a bit of an exciting day for yourself and Lats today, because you guys are also not only on Freshly Grounded 100, which is really exciting, but you're also launching something yourself. So I'll let you explain what that is.
Yeah, guys. So inshallah, it's not like obviously we are launching today, but obviously everything will be available in about a week's time. But me and my brother Lats, alhamdulillah, we're launching our fitness brand today. It's called Leonine Training, which means lion-like training. And obviously we wanted to appeal to the masses. It's not just for males and females as well. And like how it came about is like we were speaking about it for what, like nearly 3 years, and like we were supposed to like do this a long time ago, but we plan, but Allah's the best of planners. And yeah, so the plan obviously is we're gonna create a lot of YouTube content for you guys. Of course throughout Ramadan as well, try and give you guys advice on how to deal with it. There'll be training plans for both male and females, nutrition plans for males and females, whatever your goal is, whether you want to gain quality weight, whether you want to get shredded, the whole thing, inshallah. So yeah, exciting times.
That is exciting. So is that going to be a website?
Yes, so the website's launched, but everything will be like fully functional, as in it's there, you can navigate through it, but inshallah you'll be able to like purchase and do what you need to do in the coming, before Ramadan, hopefully, but inshallah about 5 days before Ramadan.
Inshallah, and Lats, I can see that you've got the Leonine clothing.
Yeah, so we got a few bits of bobs outside. We actually wanted to do a giveaway today of a few t-shirts and stuff, but we kind of forgot them in the back.
No, it's I got one of the girls to bring it.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to do a little competition.
Okay,
it's not so easy.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
A little catch.
We're not just going to throw them out.
So we'll do the men first. So the first challenge is, anyone can volunteer, is you have to come up on the stage and give us...
competition though. Should we do it as a competition?
No. We'll just pick someone.
I think good, like make
But
it against
it's not going to be easy.
How many push-ups?
Let's say, who's good at push-ups? Okay, we can't. It's going to be too easy for you. I'm joking. Because I see his hand first, I'm going to give him. How many should we give him?
If they can like out-press up you guys, and they win.
You know what? Do you know what it is? They probably could.
I was thinking like it could be one of the guys against another guy, and whoever wins gets the...
Have we got another confident guy out here?
So we got 2 volunteers.
The brother in the white t-shirt, please, in the middle. Yeah, he put his hand up as soon as... So let's get those 2 guys.
Okay,
it's
so
getting interesting.
Let's do it like this, yeah? 1, 2, 2.
They quite out-press
each other.
Huh? So basically, whoever gets more...
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I don't know what the competition is. Can we get your name, brother?
It's a bit under pressure, to be fair.
Sorry? Fuad and Abbas.
Nice to
we
meet
got
you,
Fuad,
bro.
Barak.
Nah, bro, nice to meet you, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, you right?
Okay, do you want to demonstrate? You demonstrate.
So, guys, okay, fine. I'll demonstrate a push-up. So here, you want all the way down, chest pretty much touching the floor, straight up.
Oh, what we'll do is we'll get a fist. So the chest has to hit the fist. So I'll do this, brother, you do that one.
I think you should do it together. So we're going to say, we'll count you in like 1.
So
you do it.
We'll say you go first, 1, but then you got to hold the position. Then you got to do 1.
Then you go 2, and then you go 2.
Until the first man collapses.
Whoever stops, last man standing.
I want to put my fist here on the floor, so that...
Actually, don't worry about it. Let me just do it. Don't worry about putting your fist on the floor.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
Back, relax.
You relax, lads. Enjoy the show, man. Chill, man.
I'm doing it in the gym already.
Who do you think's going to win?
So who's going to judge if they're doing it properly?
Okay, I'll watch him, you watch him.
I think he's going to
If
take
it's not all the way down...
I think he's going to take
And the audience, can you watch as well? Make sure they're all doing proper push-ups, please.
Yeah? Alright, let's get down.
Wait, let's guess who the audience thinks is going to win. So who says Fuad?
So hands up for...
Yeah, I'm supporting Fuad, man.
Hands up for the side.
And who says Abbas?
Okay.
Underdog. Use the energy, bro. Underdog.
They're on your side. Alright, let's start. Come on.
Alright,
Get
so
in position.
into the push-up position. Right.
Wait. Stay up.
So relax. Go on your knees, okay? Alright, when we say go, get in a position, and then you're going to do one push-up, then you're going to do a push-up, then you're going to do two, and you're going to do two.
So you stay in
call it.
like a
But
plank
you
position.
There's no resting until you
Yeah.
collapse.
Last man standing.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, get in position. Right, you go first. 1. Good. 1. 1. Wait. You stay up.
One at a
2.
time, go.
Now you do 2. 1. And another one, and another one. You got to do it again. You got to do it.
Now 3.
Right, you got to do 3. 1, 2, 3.
He's
Lovely.
got this.
1, 2, 3. Good. 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. 5. 1.
Abbas, I'm with you, bro.
3, 4, 5. Let's go. 5. 1, 2.
Come on, bruv.
3.
That's it.
4, 5. Good.
6. 1, 2. All the
Higher
way
up.
3, 4.
Straight arm.
5, 6.
Nice. Let's go. 6.
Let's go, Abbas.
2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 6.
All right,
Let's go.
7.
1, 2, 3,
Higher.
All the way up.
4, 5, 6,
It's burning now.
7. Let's go. 1,
It's a good workout.
2, 3, 4.
Come on, bro. You got this,
Come on.
man.
5. Come on.
You got this, son. You got
Come on.
this.
One more. 7.
Hey, let's kill it. Kill it. Higher.
3. All the way up. 4. Come on. 5, 6, 7. One more. 8. Nice. Let's go. 1. 1. Come on. Let's go. Doesn't matter. Let's go. 2.
Come on. Come on, guys.
3. Alright.
Good.
Nice. By the way there, we're going to gift you a t-shirt.
Put your hand up. Champ. We give you the right one.
Okay. I'll give him a t-shirt.
Done well, mashallah.
Well done, bro.
Yeah, we got some more stuff here, so I'm gonna give you both some stuff. 'Cause I think you deserve it.
Definitely.
Now we're going to give...
They both get a prize.
Nah, jumper, man. Welcome to the Leon man.
Well done, man. Love my brother, yeah?
That's
Right. Now, what are we going to do for the females?
So we're not going to leave the ladies out. So
You go on. You
it's
give
question
that
time.
Well done, brothers.
wow, that's nice.
Smashed it.
So nice.
I know, bro.
What size is this?
What question you got? I'm trying to think.
Medium. The same one. How's
Which
this
one?
one?
What about that?
Right, we're gonna have to have a quick one for the girls because we've got 10 minutes left of the show, guys.
Alright, come.
Alright,
Go on,
so
then.
it's going to be like a
Question.
question, but they're obviously whoever puts their hand up, we pick at random. So if you this is based on if they listen to the podcast. Okay.
They
So-
listen, bro.
Okay. So based on
Question the audience, bro. They
We
listen.
watch to see
If
who's
you
the
wanna-
first one to put the hand up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. First person to put their hands up will, and if they get it right, will get the prize.
But how?
Alright.
That's a,
Okay.
That's
So
tough
if you want to lose weight, yeah, when is it ideal to train? Before iftar or after iftar? I saw that hand go up first. Sister in the black, right there. Yeah, right. You. What is it? And she's correct. Well done. Just get what this is.
Balance. What was you asking? The balance
Like a balance of everything.
of everything.
But you're just remaining at a level where you're inspiring people and improving your health.
One thing that helps me balance is right next to the gym we actually have a masjid. So praying and then go, like we get the spiritual gains in my mind. I think to myself, go to the masjid, pray, and then we go to the gym afterwards. And that really helps me keep Allah on my mind, as well as focus on trying to get stronger and become healthier. That definitely helps me. What about you?
And just try and think that like everything that you do, regardless of what it is, you do it for the sake of Allah. So a lot of scholars of the past, they've said the strong believer is more beloved to Allah than the weak believer. And some scholars say this also, as well as referring to spirituality, it also refers to physical strength. So that's one of the things that I really like to help motivate myself. And then in terms of actual keeping that balance of not doing excessive exercise is listen to your body. Like you're training, just listen to your body. If you feel fatigued or you don't feel like you can do more, you stop. But if you say, for example, you've told yourself, you've written a program or whatever, you're following a program and it says 4 sets, this many reps, you've done it and you feel amazing still. You're like, you know what, I want to do one more. So it's just ultimately just listen to your body and what I said before that.
And another thing as well is like obviously based on spirituality and obviously your physical state is that you have to remember our bodies are a trust from God. So when I leave this earth, my mission is to give God the body back in the best condition I can possibly give it, so that I know, you know, I've looked after his trust, and hopefully that will keep blessings on me to keep healthy and strong.
It's a gift from
for
Allah.
thank you, yeah.
Jazakallah, brothers. We got the brother in the middle here.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
My question is for Sam. Just asking about his recent Umrah trip and just how is it from a revert's perspective?
Yeah, my last Umrah trip was beautiful, man. Alhamdulillah, really, really amazing. It was my second trip. The first trip I went out there, I'd been Muslim for 3 months. Didn't really have much knowledge on the deen or where I was going or anything like that. I was in Palestine with yourself, and then alhamdulillah, I was in Saudi Arabia, and I couldn't really appreciate it. So it was very, very beneficial, but I didn't really have much knowledge to kind of understand what I was doing. So when I went back there 2 months ago with more knowledge and more experience of being a Muslim, even more beneficial, and just beautiful, really, just like a cleanse, a spiritual cleanse. And I miss it. I really, really miss it, to be honest. And I advise anyone who hasn't been to get out there, and if you've been, go again. And yeah, beautiful. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair, brothers and sisters. We're running short on time, but please give up for our panelists today. Jibreel Hanzo, Ajmal Lats, and Muslim Belal. You are summoned. 100 episodes, bro.
Yeah, well done. You made it.
Well done, chap.
Alhamdulillah, you made it. Well done.
Where do we go now?
Home.
Home. Oh no, I've been up since Fajr.
Yeah, let's aim for 200.
Yeah, inshallah.
Inshallah.
And what about you guys? Would you guys like to see an event like this every year before Ramadan? Yeah? Maybe bigger and better every year? Amazing. Guys, listen, I want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you who have ever listened to an episode of Freshly Grounded. Those of you who have bought tickets to come to this event today, to our families. It's not always been easy. I want to give a massive thank you to Sam, because as you guys saw in the intro video, that was genuine, man. Like, Sam had no idea what podcast was. He had no idea. He didn't even live in London, so he had to travel, and he committed to travel once a week from outside of London to pay. He paid a £30 train ticket every time. Never asked me for that money back, and it was, for me, it was easy. Do you know what I mean? Because it was in my studio, and he travelled down every week, not knowing what it was about. But he did it fi sabilillah, and I really thank you, Sam, because Freshly Grounded would not be what it is today without you. You're definitely one half of the dream team, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much.